At the start of the drama, we see the female lead, whose name is JJ. She is shown outside a school. Actually, she has transferred from her hometown. This is her first day at this school. She finds this school very nice. She then goes to the reception and asks a boy about her class, Section E. Well, he looks at her strangely and tells her about the class. While going there, she thinks, my marks weren't good. That's why I got admission in Section E. There's nothing wrong with that. Now she enters the Section E building. She can't believe that this is part of the same school because it's very dirty. She asks some students standing outside, is this Section E? Now among them is the male lead, Kiefer. Kiefer says, there's no Section E here. You should go to the main building. After she leaves, Kiefer starts making fun of JJ with his friends. Then she comes and sits in another class. Now, the president of that class, whose name is Rocky, gives JJ her introduction. So JJ also tells her name. She asks, are you a new transfer here? JJ says, yes. Rocky looks at her registration form and says, you're in the wrong class. This is Section C. Hearing this, JJ is shocked. Rocky then tells her to go to the same building where she had gone first. JJ comes to that class again. The teacher is teaching them, but no student is studying seriously. JJ comes and gives the teacher her introduction. The teacher asks the class to welcome her. Kiefer gets up and asks JJ, are you a virgin? Hearing this, JJ looks at him in shock. Everyone there starts laughing, so the teacher makes them all quiet. Kiefer says, tell me the answer to my question. I think your IQ level is very low. JJ doesn't say anything. Kiefer asks, when will you leave this class? JJ says, why don't you leave? Because I want to make you disappear from the world. JJ is sitting in a chair listening to the teacher's lecture when Kiefer throws a paper ball at her from behind. JJ turns around and asks, who threw a paper ball at me? But then all the boys start throwing paper balls at her. She ignores them and starts studying again when Kiefer spits and throws a paper ball at her. JJ gets very angry at him. She quickly cleans her head and hands. The teacher asks, what's happening here? JJ says, they're all throwing paper balls at me. The teacher doesn't say anything to them and leaves, saying the period is over. After that, all the boys start throwing paper balls at JJ. So JJ runs away from there. Then she comes to the canteen and thinks, this school is amazing. Only the Section E boys are troublemakers. Then she takes food for herself from the canteen. Everyone there is talking about her. How embarrassing it is that she's in Section E. Now, JJ's cousin Aries is also there with his girlfriend Ella. He asks JJ to have lunch with them, but JJ takes her food and leaves from there. Then she sits in a room in the Section E building and starts eating. When her classmates snatch her food and run away, Kiefer looks at JJ, smiles, and leaves from there. Now, a classmate whose name is Felix says to JJ, I apologize on behalf of my classmates. JJ says to him, what's their problem? Felix says, we're not allowed to go to the canteen, so when it's lunchtime, they snatch others' food. Now JJ takes out something to eat from her bag and starts eating, when Felix takes that too and runs away. JJ becomes sad because now she has nothing to eat. After lunchtime, a teacher comes to teach them, but seeing their dirty class, she says to everyone, until the class is clean, I won't teach you all. Saying this, she leaves from there. Everyone is happy that the teacher left. Then Kiefer takes everyone out of the class and tells JJ to clean there and locks the door. JJ makes a lot of noise, but the door doesn't open. So reluctantly, JJ starts cleaning the room. Outside, everyone makes fun of her seeing this. JJ also notices cooking utensils and a stove in the room. She thinks, is this a class or a kitchen? Then she reads the names on the lockers kept there. Among them, seeing Ella's locker next to Kiefer's, she gets curious. There's no other girl in the class except me, so whose locker is this? So she starts opening that locker. When Kiefer comes and stops her, you were told to clean, do that. JJ asks, why? What's in this locker? Have you hidden something? Kiefer ignores her question and tells her to clean the class. JJ shouts at him. Kiefer says to her, there's no need to shout at me. Now, seeing them fight, a classmate says, you two are fighting like husband and wife. JJ gets embarrassed and starts sweeping. Kiefer says, you deserve this. In the next scene, JJ comes to her aunt's house after school. She welcomes her very happily and makes her sit with her for lunch. JJ says, won't you have a problem with me staying here? Aunt says, it won't be like that. This is your house too. You just have to fulfill your promise, not to create any problems. JJ agrees. The next day at lunchtime, JJ secretly comes to a class on the second floor thinking, here they won't bother me while I'm eating. But Kiefer is in the same class. JJ's mood gets ruined seeing him. Kiefer also comes and tastes her food, which he finds very good, so he says to her, I'll also eat with you. JJ has to give him food. In the next scene, JJ comes to class. Kiefer gives JJ a list. You have to bring these for us from the canteen. JJ says, I won't do any such thing. Kiefer says, if you want to stay in this class, you'll have to listen to me. JJ says angrily, I hate you very much. Can we stay out of each other's way? Kiefer doesn't say anything when JJ takes Ella's name. Hearing this, Kiefer gets angry and says to her, you'll regret this soon. Then, when the teacher comes, everyone sits in their chairs. In the next scene, JJ starts having lunch when the boys come and start taking food from her again. Just then, Yuri comes and gives everyone food items. Then he sees JJ there and asks in shock, who is this? Felix tells him, this is a transfer student. Yuri says, does Kiefer know about this? Felix says, yes, that's why he's trying to remove her. Now Yuri asks JJ, why are you still here? And why are you behaving like dogs with my classmates? JJ says, it's not like that. They snatched food from me. Yuri says, you won't last here for many days, so there's no need to be too smart. After Yuri leaves, Felix tells JJ, Yuri is a Japanese student. Then coming outside, Yuri asks Kiefer about JJ. Why haven't you removed her yet? Because Kiefer didn't allow girls in Section E. Kiefer says, she's different from all the other girls, so we'll have to make some other plan. The next day, JJ is going to school when she sees her classmate fighting on the way. She stops him. He tells her his name. I'm Xian. Then he starts going to school with JJ. JJ asks him, why aren't you all allowed to go to the canteen? Xian says, you'll feed me, then I'll tell you. JJ agrees. Xian says, Kiefer had a girlfriend. JJ asks, was it Ella? Xian says, yes, she was in Section E before, but then she got herself transferred. Kiefer didn't understand why Ella left Section E. Then one day, Kiefer saw her kissing a boy in the canteen. Because of that, Kiefer started destroying things there in anger, so our section was banned from going to the canteen. But Ella had the support of the school admin, so she wasn't banned. This is the only reason Kiefer doesn't want any problems in Section E. You should also move from Section E because he won't give up. In the next scene, JJ comes to the upper class to eat. Qian comes behind her, takes his food, and says, you fulfilled your promise, so now we're both friends. JJ smiles. Then, after class is over, JJ starts getting up from the chair, but she can't get up. All the classmates start laughing at her. After everyone leaves, JJ asks Felix and Cyan for help. They hold her and pull her toward them, causing JJ's skirt to tear from behind. Xian then gives her his jacket, which she ties from behind. She understands that Kiefer did all this. So she goes to Kiefer and says to him, you think by doing this you can remove me from the section, but this is just your thinking. Then she throws Tian's jacket at Kiefer's face and leaves from there. Kiefer and everyone else there are shocked seeing this. The next day, JJ comes to class. Kiefer comes and gives her a list. You'll have to bring food for us from the canteen. JJ refuses, but Kiefer, without listening to her, puts money in her hand. He says, you know when we get hungry, we bite, so if we don't get food, we'll eat you. JJ starts looking at him in shock. In the next scene, JJ is coming with lunch for Section E when Aries sees her. JJ quickly leaves from there. Then she comes to the class. Everyone becomes happy seeing her. They take the food from her. JJ starts leaving from there. Felix says, you also eat breakfast with us. JJ sits with them. JJ tries to talk to Yuri, but he ignores her and leaves from there. In the next scene, the teacher reads JJ's surname, Fernandez, and asks, are you related to Aries Fernandez? She says, yes, Aries is my cousin. Hearing this, Kiefer is shocked. JJ tells them. The whole class starts ignoring JJ after knowing this. She gives Felix chocolate, but he ignores it and leaves from there. JJ is surprised. What have I done? In the next scene, JJ asks Aries, have you ever done anything against Section E? He asks in shock, why would I do that? She says, since they found out I'm your cousin, everyone's been ignoring me. Aries says, I don't know the reason, so don't bother me. In the next scene, a boy tells Kiefer, JJ is Aries' aunt's daughter. She's from a broken family. The father is unknown. The mother has had many marriages. First, JJ lived with her grandma. Now she lives at Aries' house. Yuri says, could it be that Aries sent her to spy on us? Kiefer says, it could be. The next day, the teacher again tells them to clean the class. After the teacher leaves, everyone starts leaving from there. JJ says, I won't clean alone again, but they lock her in the room again. JJ gets very angry. On the other side, Kiefer is sitting outside with all his friends. Yuri asks, what are you going to do about JJ now? He says, we'll bother her so much that she'll leave the section herself. JJ hears all this and says to herself, this will never happen. Just then, Kiefer goes into the room and dumps all the dustbins on JJ. JJ starts fighting with him. He dumps the second dustbin on her too. JJ also throws the garbage kept in a carton at Kiefer. She says, now you clean all this trash. Kiefer says, I'm the class president. "You can't do this with me." JJ dumps another carton on him. Then Yuri says to Kiefer, "Aries sent this girl here to create problems, so you stop." David is about to come anyway. Then Kiefer starts cleaning the class with JJ. Then JJ asks him about David. Kiefer tells her, "David is the original president of the class." JJ smiles and says, "Means you stole this position from him." Kiefer starts working without saying anything. Then JJ asks Chi-An, "Since Section E found out about my Fernandez identity, everyone's been ignoring me. Will you do that too?" He says, "No, you're my friend." JJ becomes happy. Then both enter the class together, but inside, Kiefer is fighting with a boxer student, David. The bet is that whoever wins will become the new leader of the class. JJ says, "Why are you deciding by fighting like this? The right way is an election. There will be voting, and whoever wins will be the leader." Everyone likes her idea. But during the break, when going to the cafeteria, JJ is informed that she's been banned too. Then, with Rocky's help, she takes food. As soon as she comes to class and sees that the election has completely failed and the kids have started fighting again, JJ, this time, supports David and cheers to defeat Kiefer. But all the students start shouting Kiefer's name and he becomes the class leader again. JJ then cleans David's wound and gives him food. Then the teacher comes and announces physical training class. During physical training time, all the kids are comfortably changing clothes. JJ gets embarrassed. She tries to close her eyes but can't close them completely. Just then, her eyes fall on Kiefer. He's changing his shirt. JJ just keeps looking at his body in amazement. Her heartbeat increases. Then everyone goes outside for exercise. There, JJ sees Aries with Ella, but her eyes go to Kiefer, who's glaring at them with jealousy. Just then, she understands that Ella left him and chose Aries. That's why Kiefer is angry at Aries and wants to take his revenge at any cost. The game starts and Kiefer throws the ball at JJ in anger. The other kids also start copying him. By then, a ball hits JJ's face hard. She falls to the ground. Blood starts coming from her nose. Aries comes to her. She starts screaming while crying. Kiefer also regrets his actions for the first time. Aries then takes her home. JJ stays locked in her room for 2 days and doesn't even go to school. Then her auntie comes to her, makes her favorite food, and says, "You'll have to go back to school. Exams are near." JJ agrees. One day she goes to the mall, but there some goon boys start bothering her. Actually, this is all Kiefer's planning, but at this very moment, Kiefer makes a hero entry and saves her. He bandages her wound and gives her ice cream. Actually, his intention is to apologize indirectly. For the first time, feelings for Kiefer arise in JJ's heart, but she stops herself and says, "I'll only forgive you when you say sorry from your heart." But Kiefer's ego is so big that he flatly refuses. JJ leaves from there in anger. The next day at school, JJ is changing clothes in the bathroom when rich girls are talking bad about her, how ugly she is. JJ, in return, throws water on them and runs away. The girls finally catch her. JJ thinks Aries will save her now, but Aries straight up says, "If you've made a mistake, apologize." A rich girl says, "You're from Class E and I'm from Class A. You'll lick my shoes, then I'll forgive you." Just then, Kiefer comes there with his friends and says, "Whoever touched JJ will break their face." The fight starts. JJ slaps that rich girl. Next, Yuri and Kiefer's meeting is happening. Yuri says, "All our tricks have failed. JJ is still staying in the class." Kiefer says with a cold smile, "Now I'll trap her in love, then break her heart. This will be my revenge on Aries." Hearing this, Yuri is shocked. Then, during break time, some boys steal food from JJ's bag. JJ runs after them and Kiefer, seeing her, gets attracted toward her. Now he realizes that he's starting to really like her. At the end of the day, Kiefer finds out that rich students are fighting with JJ on the ground. She knocks down 2 of them alone, but the third boy attacks from behind and is about to break her hand when Kiefer comes and pushes that boy and stands behind JJ, saying, "Now she's not alone." Both of them together beat up those rich boys. JJ then thanks Kiefer tiredly. Kiefer leaves from there shyly. At that very time, Yuri comes and says to JJ, "Don't put Kiefer in trouble. If the principal finds out, he'll be expelled from school." Yuri himself takes JJ out from there. Just then it starts raining. JJ slips and falls in the mud, and while trying to lift her, Yuri also falls. Both fall on each other. For a moment, their eyes meet, and both their hearts start beating fast. JJ shyly moves away. Yuri takes her to drop her home in his car. On the way, he notices that JJ is shivering, so he gives her his jacket. JJ falls asleep right there, so Yuri takes her to his house. When JJ wakes up, she's amazed. She finds out that Yuri is from a super rich family. His grandfather is the owner of the Hanamichi group. Then JJ is enjoying the city view from the window when Yuri comes from behind. JJ jokes about his hair. In this way, a deep friendship develops between the two. Then Yuri introduces her to his grandfather. Grandfather likes JJ because she's a simple, straightforward, and lovely girl. JJ doesn't know how to use chopsticks, so she starts eating with her hands. Grandfather smiles seeing her. The next day, JJ comes to class joking with Yuri. Kiefer looks at Yuri angrily. Yuri then goes and sits with him. He tells Kiefer, because of yesterday's rain, I went to drop JJ home, but I didn't know her house, so I took JJ to my house. Then when JJ's aunt called, she told me that because of the rain, there was a flood in their area, so she gave permission for JJ to stay at our house. But you don't worry. I haven't told anyone about your plan. Just then, a boy gives Kiefer and JJ the principal's message. There, boys from other sections tell the principal, JJ and Kiefer beat them. JJ says, but they started the fight first. But those boys say, all the fault is Kiefer's. The principal starts scolding Kiefer. If you do anything like this again, you'll be expelled. JJ, hearing all this, says, Kiefer has no fault. It's my fault. I beat those boys because they were bothering me. The principal says, you can be expelled for doing this. Give your guardian's number. Hearing this, JJ gets worried. Kiefer says to her, you shouldn't have taken the blame on yourself. She says, you helped me knowing that you could be expelled for doing so. So why wouldn't I do that? Anyway, all the fault was mine. Just then, Aries' brother Angelo comes and talks to the principal. After that, he comes outside and scolds JJ. We gave you a chance. You created a problem again. By doing this, you've lost the chance to go to any other section. JJ says sorry to him. He says, you haven't been expelled yet, but now, like Kiefer and Yuri, the principal will also monitor you, so don't make any more blunders. He then asks her, what were you doing with Kiefer? He's not a good person, so you stay away from him. In the next scene, Kiefer tells Yuri all this. I was going to be expelled from school, but JJ saved me by taking all the blame on herself. That means she's proven her loyalty. If Aries had sent her, she wouldn't have done this. Now I'll continue my plan properly. The next day, when JJ comes to class, someone is sitting on her seat. Whichever seat she tries to sit on, someone or the other comes and sits on it. Kiefer tells her to sit on the chair next to him. From today, you'll sit here. JJ sits with him, a little shocked. Kiefer looks at her and smiles. During break time, JJ goes out of the class. Kiefer follows her and asks, where are you going? JJ thinks he's become too sweet. She then starts leaving without answering. Kiefer playfully touches her foot lightly twice. JJ starts falling. Kiefer quickly catches her hand. Kiefer smiles, looking at her. JJ's heart starts beating fast. She quickly comes outside. There, she hears a strange sound from behind the dustbin. She goes close and sees Section D's girl Micah crying very badly. JJ understands that she was tortured by those girls for not bullying JJ, then takes her to the bathroom and cleans her face. She promises her, from now on, I'll protect you. She then brings Mika to her class. Seeing Mika in the class, Kiefer says, get her out of here. But JJ says, I'll never leave her alone. Then during break time too, she comes outside with Mika. Just then she notices Calix. She jokingly asks Mika, is this your ex? She says, yes, we were together before. He proposed to me and I thought he was real, but Ella warned me that Calix was just using me. She had also seen him with another girl. That's why I left him. The next day, JJ comes to class. Kiefer says to her, you say hello to everyone, not to me? Am I a black sheep? JJ replies, you're not on my level. Hearing this, Kiefer becomes quiet. Just then, Ella comes to the class and calls JJ outside. Kiefer and Yuri are a little suspicious. What has she come here to do? Right there, Ella thanks JJ about Mika's matter. Please, you also take care of Mika in the future? JJ promises. Ella then tells her, Mika might want to give Calix a chance, so please stop her. But JJ flatly refuses. This is her decision. If she wants to give Calix a chance, that's her right. Then, as soon as JJ comes back to class, everyone asks her, what did Ella say? JJ doesn't tell anything. Then they all come outside and see that a rich boy is proposing to Mika. JJ tells Mika not to accept him because Mika has Calix in her heart. Then she refuses that boy. That boy shouts at JJ, you don't interfere. Kiefer steps forward and comes in front of JJ. He says to that boy, if you bother her again, your condition will be bad. Just then, Calix comes and apologizes to Mika in front of everyone. He says, yes, I made a mistake, but now I've really changed. Hearing his emotional confession, JJ also gets emotional. Micah also accepts his words. JJ becomes happy seeing her friend's happiness. Later, JJ gives Calix an old letter that Mika had written, that she loves him and trusts him. Reading this, tears come to Calix's eyes. JJ consoles him and is very happy that she reunited the two. Then Calix convinces Micah and says that he loves her very much and will never hurt her again. Then Kiefer also apologizes to JJ for his past behavior. JJ forgives him and leaves from there. After this in their sports, Kiefer bothers JJ again and pushes her down. JJ also punches him and knocks him down. Then Kiefer starts laughing and starts running after her all over the field. Then he lifts her in front of everyone. At that moment, he can't stop himself and kisses her. Everyone is shocked seeing this. Just then, JJ's cousin comes to the ground and starts taking her, but Kiefer holds her hand. Now both start pulling JJ toward themselves. Then Kiefer pulls with more force and takes JJ. Because of this, the two kiss again, but JJ now punches Kiefer in anger. All the students are shocked that JJ is so strong. Kiefer comes to Yuri embarrassed. He asks him why he did that. Kiefer tells him that all this was his planning so that JJ would get attracted toward him. But Yuri feels that Kiefer has really started loving her. The next day, in class, all the kids are still laughing at yesterday's kiss scene when the teacher distributes exam papers. Everyone starts writing, but JJ puts her head on the table and falls asleep. Kiefer and Yuri think of helping her. Then when she wakes up, she remembers that she hadn't written anything and becomes sad. During break time, she thinks of making food. Then she makes food for all the students. Just then, Kiefer sees her and says, "I wish you were making all this for me." Hearing his words, JJ gets shy, but in this confusion, the food burns. The whole class says to Kiefer, You shouldn't have come here. This happened because of you." Then the break exam result comes. Everyone runs to see their marks. JJ thinks, "I didn't write anything, so I'll fail." But Kiefer tells her to see the mark sheet. JJ finds out that she got good marks. She understands that Kiefer had helped her. JJ then thanks him. In the next scene, JJ sits near Tyon and sees that he's holding someone's bag. She asks him, "Whose bag is this?" He tells her, "A girl gave it to me and went to the washroom." Just then, that girl comes and says to Tyon, "Why do you have my bag?" Tyon says in shock, "You gave it to me." But that girl takes her bag without listening to him and leaves. JJ finds it very strange. Just then, that girl comes with her boyfriend and blames Tyon. "He stole money from my bag." That boy starts fighting with Tyon. JJ separates him from Tyon. Two girls say, "He stole my money." JJ says, "Are you sure he stole it?" She says, "Yes, because I just took my bag from him." JJ says, "You gave it to him yourself and Tyon didn't steal." But that girl keeps fighting nonstop. Just then, all the students come there. Section A's president says he had stolen before too. Surely he must have stolen the money this time too. Now, seeing the matter escalating, a boy from Section A gives money to that girl and says to Tyon, "If you needed money, you should have asked your mom. Stealing like this is not good." JJ starts beating that boy angrily. Then Yuri picks up JJ and takes her to the room. JJ asks Tyon, "Why were you quiet there?" He says, crying, "Because I thought no one would believe me." JJ feels very sorry for him. She says to him, "I believe you." She then hugs him. Just then, Kiefer also says, "Our whole class trusts you." Tyon says, "I didn't steal." JJ lifts his bowed head and says, "When you haven't made a mistake, you don't need to be embarrassed." Then she drops Tyon home and comes back to school. Kiefer is standing outside waiting for her. She ignores him and starts leaving, but Kiefer comes behind her and asks, "Why are you avoiding me?" JJ says, "Why would I do that?" He then asks her, "Do you have money?" Kiefer says, "Do you want to know who got this done?" She says, "What do you mean? Cyan was deliberately trapped?" He says, "Yes. How can a girl say without proof that Cyan stole her money?" JJ says, "Then what's the plan?" He says, "Will you help me in this?" She says, "Yes, of course." He tells her, "I suspect Section A's president Freya and Michael. Surely it must be those two's planning." She asks, "Then what's the plan?" He says, "I'm still thinking." Then he brings money from his car and gives it to her. She happily says, "Now I'll give this to Michael." She thanks him. Kiefer says, "I'm lending you this as a debt, so there's no need to thank." In the next scene, Aries says to Ella, "Why did you do all this?" She says, "I hate your cousin. Because of her, Micah doesn't listen to me." Aries says, "Then why did you target Cyan? He was your friend." She says, "Yes, but he doesn't meet me like before." Aries says, "Maybe this is because of me?" She says, "Since JJ came, Cyan and JJ have become very good friends. So I thought, seeing Cyan hurt, JJ would be very hurt." Aries says, "You don't need to be insecure. I'll always be with you." He then hugs her. In the next scene, JJ and Kiefer go to that girl's house who had blamed Cyan. Kiefer says to her, "Who told you to do all this?" But that girl goes inside without saying anything. Then, while going back, JJ talks to him about her test paper. "You solved it, right?" He says, "Yes." JJ says, "Because of you, difficulties could have arisen for me." He says, "But that didn't happen because I did everything very carefully." She says, "You're doing all this for me because you're ashamed of your bad behavior with me, but you still have to say sorry to me." Kiefer says, "I won't say sorry to you." JJ becomes quiet. The next day, JJ takes that money and throws it at Michael's face, saying, "This is the money you gave to that girl." Michael says, "Why are you giving this? Did Sion return this money out of guilt?" She says, "No, Sion didn't steal. I stole. I picked up the bag and gave it to Sion." Everyone there is shocked. Aries says, "I know he's your friend, but don't take his blame on yourself." She says, "Sion didn't. Rather, I picked up the bag and gave it to Kian." Aries says, "How did you know there was money in that bag?" She says, "I heard her talking." Aries says, "If you needed money, you could have taken it from Angelo. Why did you steal?" She lies, "I didn't want to burden Angelo." Then she comes to her class smiling. David shows her a video that someone made and posted when she was confessing about the theft. JJ is shocked. She says, "Surely Freya did this work, but I don't care." Kiefer says, "I'll get this post deleted." The whole class becomes happy. In the next scene, JJ comes to a restaurant. Some girls there recognize her. This is the one who stole money. So she says to the waiter, "You should remove this girl from here." Just then, Yuri comes there. The waiter tells JJ to leave from there. Yuri comes there and says to JJ, "You won't go anywhere." He pays the waiter all today's earnings. "I want the restaurant empty." The waiter agrees. Then Yuri tells JJ to sit. "You don't need to go." He loudly tells the waiter to remove those girls. JJ says to Yuri, "Why was it necessary for you to do this?" He says, "I don't want anyone to degrade you." Then he orders food. JJ thanks him. Outside, Kiefer sees both of them together and is shocked. Right there, Yuri asks JJ, "Have you ever loved anyone?" JJ tells him that she was in a relationship before, but her boyfriend went into a coma. Then she asks him if he has loved anyone. Yuri tells her, "Yes, I also loved someone, but that girl loved someone else." JJ, understanding his pain, tries to make him laugh. It becomes quite late at night. Yuri takes her home on a bicycle. JJ's grandmother thinks Yuri is her boyfriend. JJ says, "He's just my classmate." Then grandmother stops Yuri for dinner. JJ becomes happy, but Aries feels very bad. The next day, that girl whose boyfriend blamed Sion for theft, everyone beats him and tells him to tell the truth. That boy doesn't say anything, but his girlfriend confesses, "Someone forced her to do so, but I can't take that person's name." Just then, Rocky comes there with a camera. She had recorded all this. She posts that video which proves JJ's innocence in front of everyone. JJ then thanks Rocky for all this. From her, JJ finds out that this planning was Kiefer's. She thinks now JJ will thank her, but JJ doesn't thank Kiefer. Kiefer gets irritated, snatches her food, and runs away. Then Yuri comes with lunch for JJ. She becomes happy. She also gives food to Sion. Yuri knew JJ doesn't know how to use chopsticks, so he feeds her with his hands. JJ says, "This is very delicious." Yuri becomes happy. The next day, JJ is going to school when a car stops near her. A boy from inside asks to drop JJ to school, but JJ refuses him. He leaves. A little ahead, Yuri comes to pick her up. She goes to school with him. As soon as she enters the school, Kiefer takes her lunchbox, saying, "This is the payment for that debt I gave you." Saying this, he runs away. JJ also goes after him. Yuri doesn't like all this. The next day, the teacher announces that there's going to be a festival week in school in which every class will have to participate in a competition, and whoever loses will clean the whole school. JJ gets excited, but Kiefer refuses because their class always loses. Still, JJ decides that she will participate. Then at lunchtime, Kiefer says to all the students, "From today, no one will snatch JJ's lunch. Rather, we'll all have lunch together." JJ becomes happy hearing this. Then he sits with JJ. Yuri gives lunch to JJ. "I brought this for you." Kiefer doesn't like this. Then Kiefer tells JJ that a student from their class hasn't been coming to school for many days because he works in a restaurant and has quit studying. JJ goes to his restaurant with everyone. Seeing them all, he happily asks about food. JJ says, "We didn't come here to eat. We came to take you. I promise you, if you study, we'll all help you with your work." Then everyone starts working there. Just then, a hot drink spills on Kiefer's hand while serving an order. JJ immediately cleans his wound and bandages him. Kiefer feels very good. Then Aries and his friends also come to the restaurant. Aries insists that Kiefer should serve. Kiefer deliberately gets close to JJ so that he can anger Aries. JJ thinks he's doing this to make Ella feel jealous. Now, a boy named Kiko proposes to JJ for a date. JJ says, "I'm not interested in relationships." David gets very angry at him, but JJ takes him to the restaurant kitchen with her. David asks her, "How can you leave him like this? Do you like him?" JJ denies it. Kiefer asks David about the real matter. He tells him the whole thing. Then later, Chian tells JJ about the fight between Kiko and David. JJ says, "Now I definitely won't date Kiko." Then in the evening, Yuri drops JJ and leaves. JJ is shocked to see Kiko there. He again talks about dating JJ. JJ says to him, "I'll think and tell you." He says, "Okay, I'll wait for you." The next day, JJ comes outside to go to school. Kiefer has come there to pick her up. JJ has a sandwich in her hand, which she's eating. Kiefer takes a bite from the sandwich from her hand, which makes both their hearts beat fast. Then Kiefer asks her, "Did you really refuse Kiko for a date?" She says, "Yes." Hearing this, Kiefer becomes happy. The next day, JJ is having breakfast when the maid tells her, "Someone is calling you outside." JJ goes outside and sees Kiefer, Cyan, and Yuri have come. Then Kiefer says to JJ, "We have to go grocery shopping because I want to cook food for all of us at lunch." JJ also agrees to go along. Then they do a lot of shopping. The next day at school, when everyone is having lunch together, David comes in injured condition and tells them that Kiko tortured him. Everyone decides that Kiko needs to be taught a lesson. Then they all start planning secretly so that JJ doesn't find out about this. JJ asks David. He tells her, "Kiko thinks you're refusing to date him because of us. So you be careful. He's not a good person." Kiefer then tells Chian to take JJ outside. In the evening, the boys go out to fight with Kiko's gang. JJ also secretly follows them. They go to an old factory and tell Kiko to come out. JJ, who's watching everything while hiding. Just then, a gang member catches her. Right there, Kiko comes with his gang. Kiefer and his friends step forward to fight him, but just then, the gang boss comes from above clapping and says, "I have something to show you all." Then he brings JJ in front of everyone. He touches JJ's face. JJ hits him on the nose with her head and jumps down herself. Kiefer and Yuri catch her. The boss and his goons run away in fear. Then Kiefer brings medicine for her, and Kiko brings and serves water. Yuri says frustratedly, "JJ, promise that you won't put yourself in danger like this in the future." JJ says laughingly, "Why are you overreacting? I did that to run away from there." Then JJ asks about the gang boss. Everyone tells her that he's the dangerous leader of another school. Kiefer says angrily, "You're a trouble magnet. You always attract some trouble or another. Now don't follow us again." JJ gets scared, but finally says calmly, "Okay, but I need to talk to Kiko alone." Everyone is surprised about what JJ said to Kiko alone. Kiko thinks maybe JJ has accepted his proposal, and he becomes very happy. JJ says to him, "Kiko, you're a good boy, but I'm not ready for a relationship right now. I need to focus on studies." Kiko also accepts her words and leaves from there. Then Chien comes outside and asks JJ, "Did you reject Kiko?" She says, "Yes." Everyone becomes happy. Then Yuri tells her to go home and rest. JJ starts leaving from there. David insists that he'll drop her home. JJ agrees. On the way, David apologizes to JJ. He says, "We went to fight there to save your reputation because we didn't trust Kiko. He betrayed me in the fight." JJ says, "You don't worry. I've rejected him, and I won't let him come near me again." David says happily, "You're very special to us." JJ is shocked. Could there be feelings for me in his heart? But he says, "Especially Kiefer. I think he likes you." JJ denies his words and leaves from there. Then coming home, JJ starts taking out her mobile from her bag, but accidentally a pregnancy test kit falls from it. Aries and Angelo are shocked seeing this. JJ explains, "This isn't mine. I found it in the dustbin." But they don't believe. They think JJ is pregnant. Angelo shouts and asks, "Tell the truth. Whose baby is it? Kiefer's or Yuri's?" JJ says, "It's nothing like that." But he calls Kiefer and Yuri home and asks them, "Whose baby is this?" Kiefer says jokingly, Yes, the baby is mine. I didn't think I'd get this good news so soon." JJ gets very angry at him. She says, "Stop this drama and save me." Then Angelo takes her to the clinic. There, after the test, the doctor confirms that she's not pregnant. JJ's breath comes back. Coming out of the clinic, Yuri apologizes to her for not being able to defend her. Just then, seeing Kiefer laughing in front of her, JJ punches Kiefer in anger. Everyone is shocked seeing this. The next day at school, JJ is still angry with him. Kiefer says, smiling, "It was just a joke. Don't be so serious." JJ says, "Jokes have limits too, Kiefer." Just then, Yuri tells them there's a class president's meeting. Kiefer wants JJ to also come along. She becomes happy. In the meeting, the director comes and starts the meeting. Every class president gives suggestions. After this, festival duties are distributed. Section E gets the responsibility of security and cleaning. Then the director announces that this time, one boy and one girl will participate from each class. The boy will wear girls' clothes and the girl will wear boys' clothes. JJ gets scared because she's the only girl in her class. Yuri says to her that their class won't participate, but Freya requests the director to include Section E too, and the director agrees. In the next scene, JJ has come to the amusement park with Section E, where everyone enjoys rides together. JJ is secretly talking to David about something, but she sees that the whole class is hiding behind and listening to their conversation. David then gets close to JJ to shock everyone and pretends as if he's going to kiss her. Yuri angrily pulls David away from JJ and shouts, "Aren't you ashamed? You have a girlfriend and you're still doing all this." Everyone is surprised at Yuri's overreaction. Then Yuri, embarrassed, changes the topic and takes everyone to the rides again. Then everyone decides to go to the haunted house. As soon as it becomes dark and scary, everyone starts screaming, but JJ mistakenly goes into the wrong room. Seeing a creepy zombie doll there, she sits on the ground in fear. Just then, Kiefer finds her and sits near her, saying, "Don't be scared. I'll always be with you. I'll never leave you alone." His words seem very nice to JJ, but suddenly a sound comes and both get separated from each other. JJ calls for Kiefer in fear. Just then, two more classmates come and want to take her outside, but JJ says, "I won't go without Kiefer." Then Kiefer comes. JJ runs and hugs him. Seeing this emotional moment of the two, the other students jokingly ask, "Are you two a couple?" JJ shyly runs away from there. Coming out from there, Yuri tells her to choose a ride to make her happy. JJ excitedly chooses the giant Ferris wheel, but seeing the long line there, she becomes sad. Seeing her sadness, Yuri convinces two girls standing in line to leave the line. Then Kiefer also convinces those people to leave the line. Finally, the giant wheel ride comes. Kiefer, Cian, and Yuri also get on with JJ. JJ happily thanks everyone. Then she asks Yuri, "What did you say to those girls that they left the line?" Yuri replies, "I said I was going to confess my feelings to you." Hearing this, JJ is shocked. Yuri says, laughing, "I was just joking." Then everyone decides to take a group photo. At that very moment, Kiefer puts his hand on JJ's shoulder. Yuri gets jealous seeing this. Just then, the ride stops at the top. Kiefer talks to the staff on the phone and tells them to repair quickly. Just then, JJ gets a call from Aries, who asks why she hasn't come home yet. JJ tells him that she's still at the amusement park, but Kiefer deliberately grabs JJ's phone and says, "Hey brother, don't disturb. You'll spoil the romantic moment." Aries says angrily, "Send JJ home right now." JJ also angrily starts hitting Kiefer and tries to snatch the phone. Just then, fireworks suddenly start, seeing which JJ becomes very happy. At that very time, the ride starts again. While taking the phone from Kiefer, JJ stumbles and falls straight into his arms. Yuri tries to lift her, but accidentally he also falls on both of them. After the ride, JJ sees Aries standing there. He grabs her and takes her home. He asks her, "Do you really like Kiefer? Do you want a relationship with him?" In JJ's mind, the haunted house scene immediately flashes where Kiefer had protected her, and she was feeling safe in his arms. Or her heartbeat increases. Still, she says, "No, it's impossible to date him." Saying this, she goes to her room. The next day, Felix tells JJ, crying, "Because of your cousin Aries, my brother died. I'll never forgive him." Hearing this, JJ doesn't understand anything. Later, she asks Aries. He says angrily, "Don't get into these matters," and tries to hide his tears. Seeing him like this, JJ is sure that the problem is very big. The next day, JJ reaches the basketball court and sees Felix practicing alone. She cheers him up. Felix notices and comes to her irritated. "What are you doing here? Stop interfering in my life." But JJ doesn't give up and says, "At least listen to me. Why do I remind you of your brother?" Felix breaks down and confesses, "Because Aries is the reason for my brother's death. Seeing you, I'm always reminded of him. And after that, my parents also left me. My life was ruined." JJ gets emotional hearing his words and holds his hand to comfort him. Felix also agrees that he was harsh with JJ and apologizes. JJ says, smiling, "I'm not angry with you." Then she asks, "Why don't you perform in the festival? You're so talented." Felix replies sadly, "No. Aries is also taking part in the festival. I don't want us to face each other." While going back to class, JJ keeps thinking about all this. She wants to know the truth at any cost. Just then, Yuri notices that JJ isn't happy and comes close and asks, "What has upset you?" JJ tells him the whole truth about why Felix hates her. She then asks, "Do you know anything?" Yuri doesn't tell anything. At that very time, Kiefer comes and calls them to play a game. JJ gets involved in the game and finally laughs. Seeing the smile back on her face, everyone feels relieved. As soon as school ends, JJ is returning home when suddenly a car stops in front of her. Gang boys get out of it and without saying anything, pick up JJ and take her. Tion and his friends just keep watching from behind. Before they can do anything, the car disappears. Everyone comes back to the classroom in shock and tells the other students that JJ has been kidnapped. Just then, the phone rings, and on the line is that gang's leader. Yes, the same one we saw in the factory. He says, laughing angrily, "JJ is my prisoner now. This time she won't be saved because she hit me." Kiefer and Yuri warn, if JJ gets even a little hurt, we'll break every bone of yours. But the leader just laughs and teases, saying, 4 people come and try to save your friend, the rest stay home and watch the show. As soon as the call cuts, Yuri starts destroying the classroom in anger, but Kiefer stops him and says, save your strength, we'll definitely save JJ. Finally, it's decided that only 4 people will go on the rescue mission. Kiefer, Yuri, Cyan, and David. On the way, Aries also meets them and insists on going along, but everyone refuses so that JJ's life doesn't get endangered because of him. Before reaching the leader's hideout, Yuri says to Kiefer, tell me one thing. Did something happen between you and JJ in the horror house? Kiefer says seriously, let me ask you one more question. Do you like JJ? Yuri says without thinking, yes, I like JJ, and I think I'm really falling for her. I really like her. Just then, Kiefer smiles and says, you need to remember one thing. I still need JJ to complete my plan. Yuri says angrily, really? I think that plan doesn't exist anymore. Kiefer says, no, the plan exists. You just saw Aries' reaction, didn't you? JJ is important to Aries. We can use her to complete our revenge. Yuri says, I know you also don't want to hurt JJ, so stop. We know this plan was doomed to fail from the start, and now using JJ won't be right for us at all. Kiefer doesn't want to admit at all that he likes JJ, so he says, I have only one goal, to defeat Aries. Just then, all the other people also come there. Then everyone reaches that old building to meet the gang boss. Seeing them, the boss says, you've come, so why don't we start the fight? After that, many of the boss's companions come there. The fight is about to start when the boss starts taking JJ from there. Kiefer reaches JJ while beating everyone. JJ is sitting alone on a chair. Kiefer sees her and says, JJ, are you okay? Just then, the boss comes from behind and hits him hard on the head. Kiefer falls down and JJ screams loudly, Kiefer, are you okay? The boss is beating Kiefer very badly and says sarcastically, is this your boyfriend? JJ says angrily, no, he's not my boyfriend. Please leave him. But he doesn't stop. JJ gets angry. She frees her hands and hits the boss hard on his head from behind. The boss falls straight back. Then JJ asks Kiefer, crying, Kiefer, are you okay? JJ feels all this is happening because of her. Just then, the boss grabs JJ's hair from behind and slaps her hard. JJ's face starts bleeding, and as soon as her eyes fall on her blood, she loses her senses. Then JJ beats the boss so much that the boss becomes unconscious. Then Kiefer moves toward JJ. She starts screaming loudly. Kiefer tries to calm her and says, JJ, everything will be okay. Please be quiet. Please be quiet. I'm really sorry. Then JJ calms down a little, notices her surroundings, and sees that the boss is lying on the ground. Just then, she asks Kiefer, what happened to him? Is he dead? Kiefer immediately says, no. Kiefer, seeing her situation, comforts her. Everything will be okay. You haven't done anything wrong. You were just fighting for your safety. Just then, all the other people also come there. Sion tells Kiefer, Aries is waiting outside, but before that, it's necessary to take JJ to the hospital. In the next scene, JJ is in the hospital. Kiefer is sitting near her. Then Aries and Angelo also reach the hospital. Angelo asks Kiefer, Kiefer, you'll have to explain to me what all happened. Kiefer doesn't tell them anything because he feels very embarrassed. Then Angelo goes outside and talks to Aries. What kind of person are you? You couldn't protect JJ? Aries says sorry to his brother. Angelo says to Aries, we need to take JJ to a psychiatrist. Her mental state is very disturbed. She's had such issues before too. This incident can prove dangerous for her. In the next scene, Aries is standing outside the room when JJ's mom sees him and comes to him. She asks him about JJ. How is she now? I want to tell her that I've gotten married again. Aries says, do you think she'll be happy hearing this? She says, I think you all haven't told her the truth. Aries says, this isn't your problem. We'll tell her. JJ's mom says, okay, otherwise I'll tell her everything myself. Aries says, if you cared about her, you wouldn't have come here to meet her because you also know she gets hurt seeing you. In the next scene, JJ is sitting in class with Yuri. JJ has pain in her arm. Yuri starts massaging it. He says to her, you can share your problems with me. Then all the classmates start having lunch there. JJ feels quite relaxed that the whole Section E is with her. Then there's talk of a committee meeting about who will perform in the festival. Yuri tells everyone the details. Just then, Yuri says, if anyone has any hidden talent, tell us now so they can perform in the festival. All the people say together, Yuri, only you have hidden talent. You sing so well, so you should perform. First, Yuri refuses. JJ also insists, so he finally agrees. Everyone there gets excited. Just then, Kiefer comes to class. Seeing Yuri holding JJ's hand, he gets jealous. So he says to JJ, You come with me. Then Kiefer takes her to his study class, which he has cleaned and decorated. JJ is surprised seeing this. Kiefer has also put many pictures on the walls. He tells her these are the students who used to study in Section E before. Among them, JJ also sees Angelo. Kiefer tells her he was Section E's best and most powerful president. JJ says, but I don't even know about this. Kiefer tells her many people in school know this. Then Kiefer asks her, do you also want to put your picture on the wall? JJ happily asks, is that possible? He says, yes, you're also a part of Section E. JJ happily smiles. Kiefer is also smiling. JJ says, you look very nice when you smile. Kiefer says, you also look better now. JJ then thanks Kiefer. Then she comes to another room where everyone is practicing singing and dancing. JJ becomes very happy seeing all this. In the next scene, JJ has come to the supermarket to get ice cream for herself. Just then, her mom's ex-husband says to her, JJ, did you recognize me? But JJ doesn't recognize him at all. That man says, I'm your mom's ex-husband. You don't need to be scared of me. That man starts getting very close, making JJ uncomfortable. She says, sorry, I don't know you. That man says, I have to apologize to you because when I was your mom's husband, I treated you very badly. JJ is shocked. He says, but now I feel very guilty about that attitude. JJ says, I don't know you, so I should leave from here. Then she runs and comes out of the store and controls herself. Just then, Yuri is passing by there. He gets out of his car seeing JJ in this condition. He says to her, JJ, are you okay? JJ quickly starts telling him everything. Seeing her so worried, Yuri hugs her and says, everything will be okay. JJ says in a low voice, I saw a man who was saying he's my mom's ex, but I don't remember anything. Just then, Yuri says to her, it's okay, JJ. Whatever painful memories are there, it's better to forget them. JJ then takes out a handkerchief from her pocket and cleans her face. Just then, she feels that Kiefer had given her this handkerchief, so she starts thinking about Kiefer. She remembers all the moments spent with Kiefer. She then says to Yuri, you're right that everything will be okay. Yuri asks her, are you okay now? She says yes with a smile and thinks, because Kiefer is with me. The next day, festival day arrives. JJ tastes food from different stalls. Then Kiefer sees her eating ice cream and laughs. Kiefer comes close and tells her that she has ice cream on her lips. She cleans it. Just then, Jay's eyes fall on a big teddy bear kept nearby. Kiefer understands that JJ wants it. Kiefer gets ready to play the game where you have to win in 7 chances and you can take any gift as a prize. Kiefer is confident that he'll do it easily, but he fails every time. JJ's condition becomes bad from laughing. Now Kiefer says in attitude, I'll give you an even bigger prize. I'll win the singing contest and dedicate the trophy to you. JJ becomes happy. At night, both have duty to guard the school. The night atmosphere is dark and scary. JJ feels scared but acts as if she's very brave. Just then, suddenly the door closes loudly. JJ gets scared. Kiefer laughs and holds her hand to calm her. JJ turns red with embarrassment because every time she feels safety and peace, only with Kiefer. But just then, a man wearing a ghost costume comes from the front, and both run away in fear. The next day in the festival, there's a basketball match. JJ and Kiefer sit together and cheer for the team, while Yuri is also nearby. But their team is losing. JJ goes to the coach and requests, give Felix a chance. He's very talented. The coach agrees. In the final seconds, Felix's ball goes straight into the net. Then the next day, there's a dance competition. JJ finds out that Section E has named the team after her name. Everyone enjoys the dance competition a lot. Then, in the singing competition, Kiefer, Yuri, and the whole team come on stage. Everyone has different instruments, and Kiefer starts singing. JJ completely freezes because she feels Kiefer is doing all this for her. Her eyes remain fixed on him, and her mind goes into past memories. JJ realizes that now she has started loving him. Kiefer's soulful singing wins everyone's heart. At night, JJ has duty to guard the school with Yuri. Yuri notices that JJ is lost somewhere. She tells him, my feelings are getting confused. Feelings have developed for a boy whom I used to hate before. Yuri immediately understands that she's talking about Kiefer. He explains to her that she should give him a chance. But while talking, Yuri himself also speaks his heart's words. I also like a girl, but she doesn't even realize my feelings. JJ is a little confused, but feels that Yuri is sad and changes the topic. Then, seeing Yuri's performance, JJ realizes that Yuri is looking at her, and she's the girl he secretly loves. JJ can't believe it. Just then, a message suddenly comes on JJ's phone from her ex-boyfriend, who had been in a coma for years. He calls her to meet him at the hospital. JJ reaches there, and her mom meets JJ very nicely. She tells her ex that JJ is coming. Suddenly, the ex wakes up. He asks JJ about her new school friends. She says, everyone's very nice. JJ then says, I can't stay here for long. My school has an event. But that boy holds JJ's hand and tells her to stay right there. JJ says in fear, no, I have to go. The ex grabs her by the neck and says, I said you stay right here. His mom frees JJ. JJ starts running from there. That boy's sister asks JJ, are you okay? She says, I did something wrong with your brother. She says, don't you remember you beat him very badly? He was unconscious for many months. JJ then comes back to school crying to participate in the contest. But there she finds out that the timing had changed, and because of her absence, their team has already lost. Kiefer asks her angrily, how could you go like this without telling? JJ sadly tells him the truth about her ex, about her broken past, and apologizing while crying. She leaves from there. Kiefer gets emotional at her words. JJ is sitting alone, sad, when Yuri comes to her. JJ tries to play the guitar by taking it from his hand. Yuri asks, how was your hospital visit? She says, it wasn't good. I was coming back when he grabbed me by the neck in anger. Yuri says, you should never go to meet him again. She says, okay. Then Yuri starts singing from his heart. JJ gets very impressed by his soulful voice and that softness. Her eyes remain fixed on him, but there's also guilt in Yuri's heart. He feels that Kiefer is deceiving JJ and will break her heart. He gathers courage to tell JJ his heart's feelings. He says to her, you're the coolest girl in the world. There's no one like you, so never degrade yourself. Then he moves forward and kisses JJ. JJ is left shocked. But at that very moment, Kiefer comes there. JJ sees him and separates from Yuri. Kiefer has the singing competition trophy in his hand. He gives it to JJ because he had promised that if he couldn't win the teddy, he'd definitely get the trophy. He looks at Yuri with full anger. JJ doesn't understand what to do, so she thanks Kiefer and leaves from there. The next day, when JJ wakes up, she sees that she's not in her room but in some unknown room. She doesn't understand how she came here, who changed her clothes, and what happened last night. Just then, we find out in flashback that, embarrassed by Yuri's action, she had run away from there. Later, Felix takes her to the party for winning the basketball championship, but the scene there is something else. All the boys are spoiled, drinks are going on, and the atmosphere is completely out of control. Just then, Kiko makes an entry. He tells them that this party is at his house and he himself is also intoxicated. He also takes JJ inside. Just then, Kiko shouts loudly that this party is for Felix because he won basketball. Everyone starts cheering for Felix. JJ then goes toward the inside. Kiko comes to her and says, you're roaming alone in such a party. He makes an excuse of caring for her and takes her on a walk with him. Then he offers her a drink, which JJ drinks. She thinks of taking Felix and leaving, but just then, she sees Felix has fallen on the ground. He's very injured. Then she finds out that this was a trap. They were called here to be trapped. Felix says to her, JJ, run away. All this is planned with us. But before JJ can do anything, she starts feeling dizzy and faints. Kiko laughs and picks her up and takes her. And just then, it's revealed that he had mixed something in JJ's drink. On the other side, Kiefer and Yuri find out from Mika and other friends that Kiko has kidnapped JJ. At that very time, Aries also reaches the party with his girlfriend, where he sees Felix lying on the ground. Felix says to him, JJ is in danger. Go quickly. Hearing this, he angrily starts looking for Kiko. Someone tells him he's on the upper floor. After this, Kiefer and Yuri also come there and start beating Kiko's gang. Then Kiefer and Yuri go up. There, Aries is already fighting with Kiko. He's beating him because Kiko tried to get close to JJ. They see in the room that JJ is in deep sleep. Aries tells them that he reached in time and saved her, and now they should quickly take her from here because the fight below is going to increase. Kiefer picks up JJ and takes her to his house so that she stays safe. JJ comes out of the room and sees where she is after all. The house is very clean. Just then, a boy comes from behind. Seeing him, JJ feels she's seen him somewhere before. She asks, who are you? The boy says, smiling, I'm Kiefer's younger brother. He tells her that now she's at their house and all her friends are waiting for her outside. JJ is amazed. She didn't even know Kiefer has brothers too. She goes outside with him, where everyone becomes happy seeing her. She's okay now. JJ runs to Felix and asks, are you okay? Felix says, smiling, that he's completely fine now and apologizes that he couldn't protect her at the party. Then he tells her that Kiefer and his friends reached in time and saved her. Just then, Yuri comes and tells the whole truth. Kiko's real target was you. He only used Felix as an excuse to trap you, but thank God we reached in time. JJ is amazed. She thanks everyone for saving her. Later, Yuri talks to Kiefer and says, look, don't involve JJ in more plans. She's innocent and has already been in danger many times. Hearing this, Kiefer gets furious, so angry that he breaks the glass in his hand and his hand gets cut. JJ sees Kiefer's hand injured. She asks Yuri, what happened? But Yuri doesn't tell anything and takes her along and makes her sit at the breakfast table. There, Kiefer's younger brother very sweetly pulls out a chair for JJ. JJ thinks, wow, he's completely different from his brother. Just then, another small child comes, and JJ finds out that he's Kiefer's third brother. He says jokingly to Kiefer, your girlfriend is very beautiful. Hearing this, everyone laughs. Then everyone reaches school together where the teacher says goodbye to the class because today is the last day of the semester. JJ is very happy. She asks Sion how his exams went. He says with full confidence, very good, I'll top this time. But JJ doesn't believe it. She says, yeah, in your dreams. He says, okay then, let's make a deal. If I get perfect marks, you'll have to tell me who you like, and you'll also have to kiss him in front of everyone. But if I don't, I'll do whatever you say. JJ finds this challenge a little strange, but inside she's confident that the boy in front of her will fail, so she accepts. Then at night, both reach the Halloween party together. As soon as the party starts, Tyan shows his childlike nature and starts playing with small children. Just then, Kiefer comes to her. He snatches JJ's candies, but just then Kiefer comes and scolds him angrily. Aren't you ashamed? I didn't raise you like this. His brother turns and says, brother, when did you raise me? I grew up on my own. At this answer, JJ laughs loudly and says, you said it right. You've taken after your brother. Then she gives him candies so that he doesn't get upset. There, a child, seeing JJ's beauty, says, let's go on a date. JJ politely refuses him, but Kiefer angrily holds JJ's hand and says, she's my fiancé, stay away from her. That boy runs away in fear. JJ's heart starts beating fast. Then Kiefer tells her that Kiko has been expelled from school. He scolds her, saying, I told you not to trust him, didn't I? From now on, you're my responsibility. You'll do what I say. Then both start roaming in the party together. Kiefer goes to get juice. A boy comes to JJ and tells his name. Hearing it, JJ is shocked. She asks, who are you? But he just takes her number, says, I'll call, and leaves. Just then, Kiefer returns, and both sit together. Just then, a girl comes to Kiefer and asks, will you dance with me? JJ doesn't like this, but Kiefer says yes but also pulls JJ along. A slow romantic tune starts playing. Kiefer holds JJ's hand, slowly pulls her toward himself, and starts looking into her eyes. JJ's heart starts beating loudly. At that moment, JJ remembers all the moments when Kiefer was with her, and she realizes that she has started loving him. She bends a little, maybe for a kiss, but stops out of shyness. Then Kiefer moves forward and kisses her in front of everyone. JJ is shocked but happy inside, while Kiefer smiles in a cool manner. At the end of the day, Kiefer comes to drop her home. Both keep looking at each other but can't say anything, just that awkward silence. Then Kiefer slowly moves forward, gives a sweet kiss on JJ's head, and leaves. But as soon as she reaches home, JJ can't sleep all night. Then Kiefer's message comes. She thinks of replying immediately when she gets a message from that boy who met her at the Halloween party. He says he needs to talk about something important, about her family and brother. The next day after the holidays, everyone reaches school. The results are posted on the notice board. JJ runs to see her result. She becomes happy seeing her result. But just then, she remembers Cian's bet. She looks at his result out of curiosity and is shocked. Cian has got full marks. JJ then tries to avoid him out of fear, but Cian comes from the front and reminds her that now she has to fulfill her promise. Then in class, her eyes fall on Kiefer and suddenly her heartbeat increases. She picks up her bag and starts leaving, but Kiefer blocks the way. Just then, Cian asks JJ to complete his bet in front of everyone. JJ gets nervous and both Kiefer and Yuri become happy because they think she'll choose one of them. But JJ, making both of them fools, goes straight and kisses David on the cheek. David is sleeping at that time. JJ says in his ear, I'll explain later. Then JJ's phone gets a message from that boy again. He wants to meet her at the mall. JJ then reaches the mall after school, but he tells her on call that he can't meet because his friends are watching her. JJ sees Kiefer and other students from far away. That boy reveals his identity. I'm Felix's brother. JJ is shocked because everyone thought Felix's brother was dead. She asks where his brother is. He says, he was always around you. You just didn't recognize him. Your family's hiding a lot. Then the call gets cut. JJ starts crying. Just then, Kiefer and his friends come and ask why she's crying. JJ says angrily that they don't need to interfere in her private life all the time. Then Kiefer takes her home and shows her his old pictures in which Felix's brother is also there. JJ looks at the picture and indicates, yes, this is the one I met at the party. Then JJ asks why he was thought to be dead. Then Yuri tells the whole truth. The day we were all new in school, Aries was our friend. We all went to the beach together. While coming back, it became night and we had an accident. Yuri and I fell out of the car, but Aries and Felix's brother were in the car, and the car fell into the water. Aries somehow came out and we tried to save Felix's brother, but it was too late. The police said maybe he drowned. Since then, everyone thought Felix's brother died. Tears come to JJ's eyes. Yuri warns her that maybe Felix's brother is now coming close to her to take revenge on Aries. JJ promises that she won't meet him again, but even after returning home, she keeps thinking about the same things. Just then, Felix's brother calls JJ. JJ says angrily that she's found out everything. She asks if he wants to manipulate her, but he assures her, "My purpose isn't to hurt her, and I'll tell her everything when the time comes." The next day, because of less sleep, she falls asleep in class itself. Kiefer sees her and, getting a chance, takes her photo. But JJ wakes up and snatches the phone to try to delete the photo. Finally, JJ deletes the photo, but seeing her ex-girlfriend's photos on Kiefer's phone makes her jealous. She gets angry, changes her seat, and sits near Yuri. Just then, the teacher comes to class and distributes university admission forms. At the end of class, Kiefer falls asleep, and JJ gets a chance to take revenge. She takes a marker and makes drawings on his face. When Kiefer wakes up, the classmates start laughing, and he looks at himself in his mobile. He gets angry and has Yuri catch JJ, and he makes mustaches on her face. Then he runs after his friends who are laughing at him. Reaching school, JJ notices that Kiefer is wearing hoop earrings in his ears that are shining in the sunlight. JJ looks at them, and Kiefer thinks JJ is looking at him because she's smitten with him. He comes to her and starts bothering her. JJ mutters curses at him. Kiefer corners her against the wall and warns that if she curses again, he'll give her a great punishment. JJ nervously becomes quiet. In the next scene, everyone has come to the university. JJ sees a teacher's photo there who looks exactly like her. She feels maybe he's related to her. Just then, Felix comes and happily tells JJ that he's won a sports scholarship. JJ congratulates him. On the way, JJ sees that professor who looked like her. She looks at an old picture in her phone in which she's with her dad, and then she realizes that he's her father. JJ goes to him crying and calls out, "Papa!" He's shocked seeing her, then hugs her tightly and says, "I've been waiting for this moment for years." He apologizes for his mistake. Just then, Aries separates JJ from him and threatens her father that if he tries to come near JJ again, he'll call the police. He reminds him of the old agreement, and JJ's papa breaks down. JJ starts crying profusely. Kiefer angrily pushes Aries hard and knocks him down. Both Yuri and Kiefer try to handle JJ, but she's completely broken. JJ comes home and asks Angelo, "Why did you lie to me? My papa is alive. Why did you keep me away from him? What agreement was there between you and him?" Angelo, seeing her condition, just says, "You'll find out everything tomorrow when your mom comes." JJ says, "I don't want to meet my mom," and leaves the house angrily. She goes straight to Kiefer's house. She asks him, "You live alone? Where are your parents?" Kiefer replies with sad eyes, "Mom has died, and Dad got married again, so I threw him out of the house. Since then, my brothers and I live alone." To lighten the atmosphere, Kiefer gives an idea of a game, confession game. Both will ask each other questions in turns. Whoever doesn't answer will get punishment. The game starts. Kiefer asks about her mom. JJ sadly tells him that her mom got married to someone else and left her with her aunt. Now it's JJ's turn. She asks, "Will you ever reconcile with Aries?" Kiefer doesn't say anything. JJ picks up a pen and makes mustaches on his face. Both start laughing. Then JJ asks, "These earrings are for girls, right? Why did you wear them?" Kiefer smiles. "These are in memory of my mom. As long as these are in my ears, I feel she's with me." Then Kiefer asks about her dad. She says, "I don't know much about him. Since childhood, I've only seen him in pictures. That's why I couldn't recognize him that day. After him, my mom has been in many relationships, so I was curious about my biological dad. Then seeing him that day, I didn't understand how I should react." Then JJ asks about the other earring. He says, "I gave it to the wrong person." JJ thinks maybe he's talking about Ella. Then Kiefer asks about her ex. She says, "In the beginning, everything was fine, but then he changed. He used to get angry very quickly." JJ then asks about his first girlfriend. He tells her, "Freya." JJ is shocked. How can she be your girlfriend? He tells her she wasn't like this before. Then suddenly Kiefer asks her, "Do you like Yuri?" She says, "I'm confused. Oh, he treats me very nicely." Then Kiefer asks about himself. "Do you like me?" JJ says, "You always make me angry, so I could never love a crazy person like you." Kiefer starts laughing loudly because she forgets that whoever curses will get punishment. Kiefer comes close to JJ and kisses her. JJ is shocked. The next day, JJ is going to school with her friends, but on the way, she sees Kiefer's younger brother fighting with a boy just because he talked to his girlfriend. JJ is surprised that Kiefer isn't interfering. Just then, Yuri comes and stops Kiefer's brother by pushing him. Kiefer gets angry and punches Yuri. Yuri turns and responds. Kiefer kicks his weak spot and knocks him down. JJ says to Kiefer angrily that the fault is yours and your brother's. She picks up Yuri and leaves from there. In the next scene, JJ is sitting at a place with Yuri and Sion, eating something, when Kiefer comes there. JJ doesn't talk to him. He comes and shakes hands with Yuri. Seeing JJ angry, he smiles and says, "Eat the food, otherwise it'll get cold." JJ doesn't look at him. He starts picking up the food from in front of her, but JJ snatches it. Then he tells her about her dad. "I'll find out about him very soon." He then smiles. JJ also forgets her anger and looks at him and starts smiling. Yuri gets jealous seeing both of them like this. In the next scene, JJ's aunt asks Angelo, "Is there no way to get our company out of the crisis?" Angelo says, "No." Just then, JJ comes home. Seeing her aunt worried, she becomes sad. Angelo tells her not to worry and sends her inside. Then he tells Yuri, "We have only one solution, that we make a partnership with Yuri's grandpa." The next day, Yuri and JJ are in a cafe. JJ is thinking about her aunt. Yuri asks her, "If you have any problem, you can tell me." JJ says laughingly, "No, it's nothing like that." Just then, Kiefer comes and says to JJ, "I have to take you somewhere." Yuri stops him, but JJ says, "I'll come back here, wait for me." Then Kiefer takes her from there. Both of them come to JJ's dad's university, but there JJ finds out that it was her dad's last day at the university. He's gone abroad. JJ asks for his number or address, but she says, "We don't have permission to give personal information." JJ gets emotional and starts crying. Kiefer hugs her and comforts her. Then JJ comes back to the cafe and says sorry to Yuri. He says, "It's okay, you came back. That's enough for me." Then JJ sees a red flower and jewelry box on the table and gets a little confused. Yuri gives the flower to JJ. She takes it. Then he opens a ring box in front of her and says, "Earlier I was confused about my feelings, but I don't want to give up on you, so please think about this and answer. I'll never let you get hurt." JJ is shocked. Even after returning home, the same thoughts keep revolving in her mind. Just then, her aunt comes and sees that ring. She makes JJ wear it. Then she says, "Whoever gave you this really loves you because this is your size. Take any decision after thinking properly." JJ gets even more confused. Just then, her mom's call comes and she tells her, "I'm going to get married again and I want you to come to the wedding." JJ says angrily, "Now you remembered I'm your daughter? You didn't even tell me about Papa." And she cuts the phone angrily. The next day, Aries sees that ring and asks JJ, "Who gave you this?" JJ tells him Yuri gave it. Then he makes a proposal. "If you break off your relationship with him, I'll help you meet your dad." JJ gets worried about whom to choose. The next day at school, everyone is busy preparing for New Year. JJ becomes happy seeing everyone working together like a family. Just then, her eyes fall on Kiefer's locker where Ella's name is written. JJ doesn't like this. Kiefer understands, so he himself goes and covers that name with a sticker and says, "That's all past. I only live in today." JJ smiles. At that very time, Yuri comes, and seeing JJ decorating comes near her and helps. JJ feels for him too. She thinks, "Whom do I like more?" She looks at her class's other friends who are all laughing together. JJ gets emotional. She feels this is her real family. Kiefer sees her, understands something is wrong, and slowly says, "Don't worry, JJ. I'm here, right? As long as I'm here, no one can make you cry." JJ melts at his words and says thank you with a smile. Just then, Yuri comes running and says, "Kiefer, some boys outside are looking for you." Kiefer smiles carelessly and says, "No problem. We're all one. Whoever comes, we'll deal with them." While leaving school, JJ collides with those boys who had come to take revenge on Kiefer. They think JJ is his girlfriend and grab her. JJ then starts beating them one by one, but they're more in number. And finally, they knock her to the ground and say, "Call your friends, otherwise the result will be bad." Just then, Kiefer comes there dressed as Santa Claus. Seeing JJ in that condition, he gets very angry. Without thinking, he pounces on everyone and knocks them all down in seconds. Then everyone celebrates New Year together. JJ smiles, seeing everyone because everyone's in party costumes. Kiefer picks up a bag and, becoming Santa, starts distributing gifts. Then a dance performance starts. First Cian dances, then calls the others. JJ also dances. Kiefer smiles seeing her. He thinks, "Since she came to our class, we've all had a very good time. She completed our class. She's our muse." JJ then tells Kiefer to also dance, but he refuses. After the dance, Yuri plays guitar and sings a song that everyone really likes. JJ feels Yuri is singing for her. Then everyone gets very funny gifts, seeing which everyone makes a lot of jokes. JJ gets emotional remembering past moments while looking at everyone. Then Kiefer comes and wipes her tears, saying, "I'll never let you cry." JJ becomes happy. Then she messages Aries, "I'll never leave Section E." Then at night, everyone parties at Kiefer's house. JJ drinks too much with everyone. She's sitting outside when Yuri comes near her and holds her hand, saying, "I want to tell you that I like you very much." JJ frees her hand, but Yuri again holds her hand and says, "Will you marry me?" JJ is shocked. He says, "You said you don't want a boyfriend, so I want to make you a wife instead of a girlfriend." JJ says, "I can't give you any answer right now." Yuri says sorry to her. "Maybe I'm pressurizing you too much." JJ says, "We're very young right now and you're talking about marriage." Yuri says, "My decision will never change. You can take as much time as you want to think. I'll wait for your answer." The next day when she wakes up, Auntie tells her, "Your grandma has come." JJ goes outside and meets Grandma. Just then, Sion also comes to meet JJ. JJ is quite surprised seeing him. Sion talks very nicely with Grandma, so she really likes him. Then in the kitchen, Auntie asks JJ, "Who gave you that ring?" She tells her Yuri gave it. Angelo goes into thought. JJ says, "But he's not my boyfriend." Angelo says, "That's good." Then Auntie tells JJ to take juice for Grandma. JJ comes outside and gives juice to Grandma. Just then, Aries comes and asks JJ, "Are you sure about your decision?" JJ says, "Yes." He says, "Then never regret it because I gave you a chance." On the other side, Auntie says to Angelo, "JJ is very young. This decision is very big for her." Angelo says, "I want to get her married quickly." Then Ella also comes there for Christmas dinner. Grandma gives gifts to everyone. JJ opens her gift. There's a white dress in it. JJ feels very strange seeing that dress. In the next scene, there's a ceremony at Yuri's hotel. JJ comes there with her aunt and grandma. She's wearing that same white dress, but she's uncomfortable in it. Then, seeing the hotel's name, she says to Angelo, "This is Yuri's hotel." Angelo says, "Yes." Grandma says, "We'll tell you everything later, but don't overreact right now." There, Yuri's grandpa introduces JJ and her family to Yuri's parents. Yuri's mom finds JJ very lovely. JJ says thanks. Then JJ sees Kiefer. She becomes happy, but just then, Ella comes to Kiefer and starts talking. Seeing this, JJ doesn't like it. Then she starts drinking. Music plays there. JJ remembers this is the same song Kiefer sang at the festival. She becomes sad, remembering that memory. Just then, Yuri comes and asks her to dance. Seeing both of them dancing, Kiefer gets jealous. After the dance, Grandpa tells about Yuri's birthday. JJ wishes him. After that, Yuri takes her on stage. Everyone sings and wishes Yuri happy birthday. Then Grandpa talks about JJ and Yuri's engagement, that they've decided to continue their relationship along with a business partnership. Both JJ and Kiefer stop in their places. After a while, JJ goes outside making an excuse of the restroom. Angelo follows her. He tells her about his bankruptcy. "This partnership will save my company." JJ says, "You should have told me about this earlier." Angelo says, "You have a good relationship with Yuri anyway. So, what's the problem?" JJ says, "But I don't want to get married. How can you decide all this?" She starts crying. Then her aunt comes and explains to JJ, "There's no pressure of any kind on you. You can tell us your decision later." Then, JJ, to repay their favors, wears the ring Yuri gave her. Seeing this, Auntie becomes happy. Later, Yuri says sorry to her. "If my companionship isn't acceptable to you, you can refuse." But JJ says yes to him. He happily hugs JJ. Then he kisses her on the forehead. Then JJ comes outside where Kiefer takes her inside the lift. Then we see in flashback that Yuri had told him, "I'm going to propose to JJ." Kiefer had said to him, "You can't do that. I love JJ." But Yuri says, "Your plan was to hurt her. I won't let you do that." Kiefer says, "That's past now. I've changed now." But Yuri doesn't believe his words. Then Ella had said to Kiefer at the party, "I have to tell you something because I know there's something between you and JJ. This party isn't just any party. It's JJ and Yuri's engagement party." Kiefer says, "I know." Ella is shocked. "So don't you care?" Kiefer, after thinking, says, "I care, and I won't give up on JJ." In the present, Kiefer asks JJ, "Do you like Yuri?" JJ can't say anything. Kiefer says, "If you don't answer my question, I'll kiss you." JJ starts leaving, trying to free her hand, but Kiefer doesn't let her go. He again asks, "Do you like Yuri?" JJ starts crying. He kisses her. Just then, the lift door opens. Both move away. JJ then goes to Yuri. He tells her, "Fireworks are going to start on New Year. everyone's going to the roof. Will you also come? She then comes up where her aunt is waiting for her. She tells Yuri to meet her in a few minutes and starts doing JJ's makeup. You have to look the loveliest at this party. Then she goes to Yuri's family. Yuri's mom hugs JJ and says, "We're happy that you accepted our proposal. Now let's celebrate that happiness." Then everyone starts drinking together. JJ starts feeling anxious, so she comes outside, where Kiefer takes her to the other side with him. He asks JJ, "Why are you doing all this?" She says, "I'm very confused about this engagement, and a lot is going on in our family too, and you're flirting with me." Kiefer says, "I'm not flirting with you. Don't you notice what I'm trying to say to you?" She says, "I don't want to predict why you're doing this. If I assume you like me, but if you don't, then what will happen to me?" Kiefer says, "If you think this, then you're right." JJ says, "But what will happen now? My engagement has happened." Kiefer says, "I'm telling you, I won't give up on you." JJ says, "Then what about Ella?" He says, "Ella doesn't even exist because I want you." Kiefer says sorry to her. "I'm late." JJ moves forward and kisses him. Right there, fireworks start. Kiefer says, "I love you very much." JJ smiles. Then Kiefer holds her face and kisses her again. Right there, Yuri is waiting for JJ. His family is taking photos and he's standing there sad while JJ and Kiefer both enjoy the fireworks together, and this is the season 1 ends here. At the start of season 2, JJ and Kiefer are romancing. Now the next day, JJ remembers the scene from the night and gets embarrassed. Then she looks at her uniform, remembering all the memories from the first time she went to Section E until now. Then, remembering all this, she puts on her uniform and gets ready. At that time, she is getting calls from both Kiefer and Yuri, but she ignores them. Just then, her aunt comes into the room and says, "JJ, you have decorated the room for New Year. It looks very good." JJ gets happy. Then her aunt tells her, "Yuri is waiting for you outside. He has taken permission from us. He said, I will pick and drop her at school." JJ says, "Okay, I am coming." Then she looks at the ring and thinks, "Now I am engaged to Yuri, so I should not think about Kiefer. Therefore, I should forget whatever happened between me and Kiefer on New Year." Then she comes out of the house. Yuri gets out of the car and says, "Good morning." JJ asks him, "Why did you come to pick me up? I can go on my bike." Yuri says, "This is my duty because now you're my fiancé." JJ smiles and is about to sit in the car when Aries comes and says, "Yuri, JJ will not go with you." JJ says, "Aries, I have to talk to Yuri, so let me go." Then JJ leaves with Yuri. Aries sadly watches them go. Upon arriving at school, as JJ is about to get out of the car, Yuri says to her, "You are very quiet. Is everything okay?" JJ says, "Yes, I am fine." He says, "Sorry I was not honest about my feelings for you before, but now I will not let you get hurt." JJ thinks, "I also have to be honest with him now, so I will have to tell him what happened on New Year." So she says to Yuri, "I have to confess something to you." Yuri speaks, "Is this about Kiefer?" She says, "Yes." Yuri says, "I don't want to hear anything about him, but I will wait for you no matter how much time it takes. My only wish is that you give me a chance. I am sure you will choose me in the end." Then JJ asks him, "Do we have to tell the classmates about our engagement?" Yuri says, "No, there's no need for this right now." JJ asks, "Why?" He says, "If they know, there could be a problem because they know Kiefer likes you." JJ says, "Yes, you are saying it right." Then she takes off the ring and wears it around her neck like a locket. Yuri happily says, "Great idea." Then JJ starts to leave. Yuri comes close to her and kisses her on her forehead. JJ gets shocked. Then she asks Yuri for a favor. Yuri says, "What?" She says, "Stop picking and dropping me. I will manage myself." Yuri agrees. Then, while coming to class, she thinks, I should not think about Kiefer now." But Kiefer grabs her outside and takes her to the side. JJ gets angry at him for doing this, so Kiefer says, "Angry on the first day of school? Or did you miss my lips?" He starts to kiss JJ, but JJ stops him. He says, "Why?" JJ says, "Stop flirting with me." He says, "There is no harm in flirting with the one I love." JJ says, "But this is wrong. I don't want to cheat on Yuri by doing this, so stay away from me." But Kiefer says, "Are we in a relationship?" "No." "Then how can you cheat on him?" She says, "If that is so, leave me alone." Kiefer says, "We are not in a relationship, but you are mine." JJ says, "Do you know you are crazy?" Kiefer says, "Yes, only crazy for you." He starts to kiss JJ again. JJ thinks of Yuri, so she bites Kiefer's lip and runs away from there. Blood starts coming out of Kiefer's lips. He says to her from behind, "You will have to pay for this." Then she comes to class and starts talking to everyone about their vacations. Just then, Kiefer enters the class. Seeing him, everyone says, "What happened to your lips? Did you fight with someone?" JJ looks at him and says, "You deserve this." Kiefer gets angry. During lunchtime, Kiefer brings food and sits near JJ. JJ tells him to stay away, but he doesn't. So JJ gets up to leave. Kiefer says to her, "Do you want me to tell everyone what happened between us on New Year?" JJ says, "What do you want?" He says, "Nothing, by the way. You look very cute while eating. I just want to see you from close up." Yuri sees them fighting and asks, "Is there any problem?" She says, "No, he was just teasing me like this." Kiefer then whispers in JJ's ear, "Remember, you are only mine." Hearing this, JJ leaves. When JJ comes home, she is shocked to see Kian sitting with her aunt. JJ asks him, "What are you doing here?" Auntie goes to prepare dinner. JJ asks Kian, "Why didn't you come to school?" Kian says, "My dad locked me in the room. He wants to send me to London because he thinks I am wasting my potential here. That's why I ran away and came here to you." JJ gets happy. The next day, JJ wakes up and sees Kiefer's message. "Wake up, your pillow has become wet from your drool." JJ laughs reading this. Then, seeing Kian getting ready, she starts getting ready herself. Now when she comes downstairs, she sees Aries talking to Kian. Seeing Kian worried, she asks, "What did Aries say to you?" He tells, "Are you really going to leave Section E? Aries told me, stay away from JJ because she is leaving us." JJ says, "There is nothing like that." Just then, hearing their conversation, Kiefer also asks, "Who said you will leave Section E?" Just then, other classmates also arrive and start asking JJ the same thing. Kiefer understands that Aries has done this, so he starts going towards him. JJ also starts going behind him, but Kian holds her foot, so JJ sends Yuri after Kiefer. Kian says, "You will not leave us and go?" So JJ says, "Aries told me. You want to go to your dad, so you should leave these guys. But I have chosen. You guys, are you happy now?" Everyone there gets happy. Then JJ goes after Kiefer. There, Kiefer and Aries are fighting. Aries' friend slaps Kiefer. Just then, Yuri also comes there and protects Kiefer. JJ tells Kiefer and Aries to stop. Kiefer says to her, "You have to tell Aries in front of everyone that you will not leave Section E." So JJ says, "Sorry." Aries thinks she is saying sorry for leaving Section E, but JJ says to Aries, "Sorry, I will not leave Section E." The whole Section E gets happy. Aries says, "You will definitely regret this decision. You have lost the chance to meet your father." Kiefer laughs and says, "You blackmailed JJ like this? You perhaps forgot who I am." Then he says to JJ, "I promise you, I will definitely get you in contact with your dad." In the next scene, JJ brings an ice pack to Kiefer because he was injured. Kiefer says, "You apply it on me because my hand is also injured." JJ starts applying the ice pack on his face. Kiefer says to her, "Sorry." JJ smiles and says, "You look very good saying sorry, say it one more time." Kiefer says, "Stop making fun of me, I only apologize to you." JJ says, "Why only me? I feel there are many people you should apologize to." Then JJ starts to leave, but Kiefer holds her hand and tells her to stay there. JJ remembers the New Year memory when Kiefer told her, "Stay with me." Then Yuri also comes there and says, "I will not give up on JJ, I can fight anyone for you." JJ gets shocked. Then we see this is JJ's dream. She thinks, what kind of dream was this which felt absolutely real? Then she reads the note written by Kian. "It was impossible to wake you up, so I'm going alone." Then she quickly gets ready and starts going to school. But Ram Gangster's people come and start troubling her. JJ fights with them. Then seeing blood there, JJ's condition worsens. Back at school, everyone is waiting for JJ. Yuri and Kiefer are very worried about why JJ hasn't reached school yet. He says to Yuri, "I feel something is wrong." Then we see a flashback where Yuri and Kiefer are together on New Year's night. Yuri says to him, "You don't need to hide from me, I know everything." Kiefer says, "Then let me tell you clearly, I will not back down." Yuri says, "I am already engaged to her." He says, "It doesn't make a difference to me. JJ will decide herself whom she has to choose." Then they find out about JJ being in the hospital, so everyone runs there. There they find classmate Adrix in an injured condition. Kiefer asks him about JJ. He says, "Seeing blood, her health is a bit bad, so she left from here." Adrix tells, "Ram Gangster's people tried to trouble her because of being your girlfriend, but thankfully David came and helped us. If he wasn't there, we wouldn't have been able to reach the hospital." Kiefer then says to David, "Next time, call me in such a situation. No need to become a hero yourself." Then we see David secretly calling someone in the hospital and talking about JJ. When I reached there, JJ was in shock. I thought perhaps she was stabbed with a knife, but she was just hugging Adrix because he was bleeding. Those people want to use JJ to kill Kiefer. There we see JJ sitting alone. She is still thinking in shock. Since I wore the Section E uniform, this has been happening to me, and this was more shocking than all other incidents. Just then, Kiefer comes to her. Seeing him, JJ starts crying. Kiefer consoles her. He says, "Everything will be fine." JJ thinks, "I know I am doing wrong with Yuri, but when Kiefer comes in front of me, I have no control over my feelings." Kiefer tells her, "Let's go home, you should rest now." Then he picks her up and starts taking her. Yuri sees both of them and gets jealous. Yuri says, "I will not give up on JJ. I will keep fighting for her till the end." JJ thinks, is this a dream? Then Kiefer says to Yuri, game on. Next day, inside the classroom, everyone starts teaching JJ self-defense together. Everyone wants to get ahead of each other in showing their strength in front of JJ. Then Cian challenges Celix to flip a book and perform a karate move, and Celix does this task absolutely perfectly. Everyone cheers for him, and JJ is in total shock. She had never even imagined that he could do this. She wants him to teach her, but he leaves from there without saying anything. Now Kiefer starts teaching her. She repeatedly says, I can protect myself. Then Yuri comes forward and teaches her to fight back. He challenges Kiefer and, deliberately making him angry, leaves. Then Kiefer teaches her to use a small weapon, which is for hairpin, and says, focus on every movement of the opponent so that you can analyze their attacks. He encourages her. JJ tries to dodge him, but Kiefer immediately pulls her into his arms and holds her close. Everyone cheers loudly, but Yuri goes mad with anger. He says, you should intimidate your opponent and trust your heart. JJ strikes him and pushes him back. The whole class fills with excitement, and everyone cheers for her. She is happy too, but her mind starts spinning. Which self-defense technique should I trust? Which style should I choose? Just then, Yuri's message comes asking, where are you? Then Cian holds her hand and tells her to focus. All this training is for your own good so that in the future you can escape from any harm. She comes back to class. She thought Yuri taught everyone martial arts, but then she finds out that they all know how to fight. She talks to Mayo and argues about the sport he plays. Then she starts arguing with everyone in the class. Kiefer stops her, so she calls him asshole. But realizing something, she shuts her mouth. However, Kiefer says, according to the rule, you will get punishment now. Then he kisses her in front of everyone. Yuri gets jealous seeing this. Then JJ pushes Kiefer back. Everyone calls them husband and wife. In the next scene, the teacher asks everyone to write an essay. JJ distributes papers to everyone. Then she tries to talk to Yuri, but his mood is off. The teacher yells at her, so JJ gets scared and goes silent. Then both talk through notes. At first, he doesn't want to reply, but then he writes, focus on the lesson, not on me. JJ gets confused, then writes, maybe you are upset about the Kiefer thing. She keeps sending papers until he replies. Kiefer notices everything and gets jealous. Then, seeing all this, the teacher throws JJ out of the class. She sits sadly outside. Just then, Yuri comes from behind and scares her. He says to her, sorry, because of me you were sent out of class. She says, nothing will happen with your sorry. Why did you come here? Yuri says, I came here just to apologize and sit with you. Looking into her eyes, he says, I want you. I am not angry with you. I am jealous. I love you, that's why I can't control my feelings. You are my fiancé, whether anyone knows or not. Seeing someone else kiss you is difficult for me. Maybe you don't love me, but you accepted the engagement, you accepted being mine. JJ's heart gets heavy. She holds his hand and hugs him. He then stands up and gives her an emotional kiss on the cheek. Then he leaves and JJ stands there shocked. Just then, Kiefer comes there in anger and yells at her. He says, you are mine, and if Yuri comes near you again, you will regret it. Then he pushes her and leaves. JJ gets shocked because of his behavior. Then going home, she says to herself, I never want to see Kiefer in this form again. She is sitting in her room with Cian, who is eating ice cream like crazy. He notices that JJ is sad. So to freshen her mind, he tells her, watch a movie. Both sit to watch the movie, but before it starts, JJ stops him and asks, have you ever seen Kiefer getting this angry? And how was he then? He immediately says yes and tells, once it happened because of Yuri when I was there too. Kiefer beat Yuri so much that no one could intervene because when Kiefer is angry, no one stands in front of him. JJ says, I feel bad for Yuri. But Cian says, Yuri is a coward who sticks to Kiefer because he is afraid to face him. He gives JJ a warning, stay away from Yuri. Then they watch the movie, but due to too much ice cream, Cian gets a stomachache. While waiting for him, JJ chooses a movie herself. While looking through files, she finds a folder named Secrets. In curiosity, she opens it, and a video starts playing. In it, those people are holding Kiko and beating him badly just because he came close to JJ at the party and put her in danger. Everyone is beating him together. JJ watches all this crying. Then Cian comes. He understands that JJ has seen the video. JJ asks, why did they do all this to Kiko when he was already expelled from school? There was no need to do this again. He says, this was all for your protection. Do not try to know more about Kiefer, otherwise he will turn on everyone. JJ pushes him and threatens, tell me which hospital Kiko is in. Then she decides to go meet Kiko. In the hospital, she sees him hanging in wires, injured and broken. He says, I deserved all this, and JJ, you should not feel guilty. He apologizes and says, when you rejected me, my heart broke. JJ forgives him but says, never do this again. He gets relaxed when he finds out she came alone. Just then, Kiefer's call comes. Everyone is looking for her. Kiko realizes how lucky JJ is that everyone cares for her. He tells her about a girl who was kind before and then changed. He says, after her friend died, She went to Kiefer, Yuri, and Aries. You ask Kiefer and Yuri about this. JJ then goes back to class and everyone yells at her because they were all worried. She promises them, next time this won't happen. She sits between Kiefer and Yuri and keeps thinking about that girl, Freya. In the next scene, she is standing on the terrace talking to her classmate, Kat. He comes close to her. Just then another boy, Mayo, comes there and gets shocked seeing them like this. He thinks JJ and that boy are kissing. So he comes and starts yelling, are Kiefer and Yuri less for you that you are flirting with Kat too? Kat explains to Mayo, don't talk about JJ like this. But he is very angry, so a fight breaks out between the two. Just then, Adrix also comes there and sees all this. JJ explains to him, nothing like that happened between me and Kat. Mayo just had a misunderstanding. But Mayo gets angry at JJ again and says, flirt with the whole Section E because you are no different from Ella. JJ punches him in anger, causing his nose to bleed. They then take him to the nursing room. After treatment, he says, sorry to JJ. I didn't mean that you are not like Ella. JJ also says sorry for punching him. Then he talks about Kiefer and Yuri. If I were in your place, I would choose Yuri because Kiefer is not a good person at all. In matters of girls, he becomes selfish. He doesn't care about others' feelings. He did the same with Yuri before. JJ says, what do you mean? He says, Ella wanted to choose Yuri, but Kiefer separated her from Yuri. JJ gets confused. Then both Kiefer and Yuri arrive there. Seeing Kiefer, JJ starts thinking about the earlier statement. He is selfish and Yuri is a coward. JJ's mind is full of questions regarding Kiefer and Yuri. She keeps asking herself repeatedly, whom should I choose and whom do I truly love? After class, Kiefer comes to her and asks, will you go on a date with me? At the same moment, Yuri offers, I will carry your bag and drop you home. JJ doesn't want to get stuck between the two, so she thinks it would be best to ignore both for a few days. Without answering anyone, she leaves from there, and Kiefer and Yuri look at each other in surprise. In the evening at home, JJ scolds Cian a lot because he has completely messed up her room and is even decorating it according to his taste, but the scolding has no effect on him. Then, just as she is about to go out, messages from both Yuri and Kiefer arrive, at the same time asking, what is the plan for tomorrow? JJ thinks, how do both always message at the exact same time? Ignoring both messages, she goes out. At the shop, she meets David. Right there, Kiefer keeps messaging her, asking where she is, but JJ doesn't reply. David assumes, maybe you are in a relationship with Kiefer, but JJ clears it up. There is nothing like that. Then David sees the chain around her neck and the ring hanging on it, which is the engagement ring given by Yuri. JJ doesn't tell the whole truth and lies, this is a gift from someone. Then JJ remembers Percy, who was in an accident years ago with Kiefer, Yuri, and Aries, in which everyone thought Percy had died, but actually his mother had taken him to America for treatment. JJ says to David, make me talk to Percy. David sends her photo to Percy, and after a while, Percy's message comes, remove the ring from your chain, otherwise I will come back and kill Yuri. This message doesn't let JJ sleep all night, and she keeps thinking, why does Percy hate Yuri so much when he himself has been ignoring Yuri's messages for so long? Cian asks, what is your problem? So JJ doesn't tell the whole truth, just says, the one I am messaging doesn't reply, and the ones I want to ignore are messaging continuously. As soon as she says this, Kiefer's call comes asking, are you going to get groceries? JJ says yes because their class cannot use the canteen, so Section E students bring groceries together and cook food in the school itself. Today, Cian was supposed to go with her, but he refuses, and JJ leaves with two of her classmates. During shopping, she thinks, it is good to stay busy so that I don't get time to think about Yuri and Kiefer. But everywhere in the mall, there are modeling photos of both of them. Just then, Kiefer himself appears in front of her. Seeing chocolates, he jokes, nowadays I don't need sweets, but something sweeter. Hearing this, JJ blushes. Kiefer asks, why are you ignoring my messages? But JJ doesn't answer, so he holds her hand. After shopping, Kiefer says, wait outside because I found out something about your father. Outside, Cian sees JJ with his girlfriend, and they take a photo to tease her. Then JJ sends her friends home and goes with Kiefer to his house, where she finds out that Kiefer has a different car for every day. Jokingly, JJ says, give me one car. So Kiefer says, after marriage, the whole house and everything will be yours because you are only mine. Hearing this, JJ says angrily, I am not a thing. Kiefer comes close and says, changing the topic, from now on I am yours. He is about to kiss her, but JJ ignores him and goes inside. Inside, Adrix and some boys from Section E are present, who tease both of them and then show a photo of JJ's father on a laptop. They find out that her father is the son of a powerful businessman and is in New York. Photos of him with Percy are also found. JJ gets happy and thanks everyone. Kiefer promises, I will make you meet your father. Coming home, JJ gets emotional and tells Cian the whole truth. He tells her, I am going to shift to a new apartment in a few days. Later, JJ messages David. If Percy doesn't clear his intentions, stay away from him. David sends the message to Percy, but inside, he starts having feelings for JJ. On the other side, Percy's mother brings lunch, and later, Percy's father arrives, who is actually JJ's father, meaning Percy and JJ are siblings. The next morning, Yuri takes JJ to church because they are engaged. JJ thinks, I can never imagine marriage with Yuri, but the families are happy. Some girls call JJ ugly and Yuri cute. Seeing JJ sad, Yuri says to her, for me, there is no one prettier than you. After church, Yuri gives her cupcakes. They look at photos and remember old memories. Seeing a group photo, the atmosphere becomes serious. While cooking together in the kitchen, JJ thinks how simple everything was before. Yuri says, we should go to Japan after marriage. He starts teaching her Japanese. He teaches her to say, I love you, but JJ cannot say it. Yuri kisses her. He promises, I will always stay with you. Then upon coming home, Kiefer is waiting for her outside. He forcibly takes her in the car. Going to a place, he gets out. JJ asks him, Yen, where have we come? But he asks her why were you and Yuri together? JJ tells, we went to church. He says, and? She says, we talked about a lot of things and saw old photos too. He asks, and? So JJ says, and nothing else. So Kiefer says, don't lie to me. JJ says, he kissed me. Hearing this, Kiefer gets emotional and says, why are you doing this to me? I am yours. You are mine. So why is this happening? JJ says, you know my situation, don't make it more difficult for me. He asks, do you like Yuri? She says, yes, that's why I got engaged to him. Kiefer says, you are lying. She says, I am not lying. So he says, then why did you respond to my kiss on New Year? Why did you come here with me? Tell me, what am I to you? He is very emotional. So JJ gives up and says, okay, listen, I am not sure about my feelings, but the truth is it should be Yuri. So he screams, because of this engagement? She says, I can't see Yuri getting hurt anymore because of this. Even though I am not clear myself, even though I can't get you out of my mind, even though I know my heart is giving a different answer, still I am stopping myself because I want to stay happy. He says, crying, why Yuri again? JJ, do you think I was always chosen? When we had the accident, what do you think? Did they care about me? They said save Yuri because he is weak, and what about me? Did no one think that maybe I am also not that strong? I grew up without a mom. Dad also kicked me out. I raised my brothers myself. He is so emotional that seeing him, JJ also gets sad. He says, please don't be like them. So JJ hugs him. He says, now I don't care about anyone except you if you want to choose Yuri. Do it, but don't separate from me. I love you very much, JJ. JJ then touches his face and looking into his eyes says, I love you too, Kiefer. Kiefer gets happy hearing this. At night in JJ's room, Xian is sleeping, snoring loudly, whereas exactly opposite to him, JJ is awake and looks truly happy. She is smiling, thinking about the time spent with Kiefer when he confessed his love, and JJ also expressed her love. This memory fills her heart with happiness. Just then, her phone rings. Seeing Kiefer's name, her face immediately lights up. She receives the call and Kiefer asks, is everything okay? She tells, I got scolded for coming late. Being half joking and half serious, Kiefer says, let's tell everyone that you are going to be the mother of my child and get married. JJ laughs. He says, even being in different places, we will dream about each other and keep meeting in dreams. Then he confesses his love again and says, I love you to the last limit and beyond. JJ says, I love you too. At the same moment, Xian suddenly wakes up and hears her conversation, but he doesn't understand who JJ is talking to. He tries to ask JJ, but she doesn't tell and lies down to sleep. The next day, everyone leaves for class. JJ is tired but tells Xian, you kept me awake all night, whereas Xian says, you were awake because of being in love. Just then, Yuri comes with food, so everyone there gets happy. JJ is waiting for Kiefer to come, so Yuri tells her, Kiefer will not come today because his father has come to his house and there are serious problems going on there. JJ says, it doesn't make a difference to me, but inside she is restless and is looking for him everywhere. Then Kiefer doesn't come to school for a few days. JJ keeps thinking only about him. Just then his call comes. He says, I am missing you very much. JJ says, I am also missing you, and complains, you didn't send even one message. Kiefer tells, there are some family issues. JJ continuously worries about him, and inside, Kiefer finds her care very sweet, and he thinks in his mind, I like this side of her. Still, JJ asks, what actually happened? Then Kiefer describes what happened 3 days ago, when his father had come and destroyed everything. Servants try to handle the situation, but Kiefer runs to check his brothers, especially little Karen, and hugs them tight, promising everything will be fine. They are scared because they don't want to go with their father. Kiefer tells, I am close to legal age and will fight for custody, just have to get past the birthday first. He consoles them. We will always stay together. He calls lawyer Ryder and says, I need to talk to you about my father so that the siblings' custody can be secured. When JJ finds out all this, she gets shocked. The next day, JJ and Cian leave for school. Just then, suddenly some men come with Ella and tell them, Kiefer's family wants to call you. Reaching there, they see that the whole class is gathered at Kiefer's house and everyone is confused about what is happening. Then Kiefer's father comes a terrifying and cruel man who tells everyone in a cold manner, I have invited you for food. Then Kiefer and Yuri also arrive there. JJ is roaming upstairs, so Kiefer takes her to the side where Yuri and siblings are. He says, my father doesn't do anything without a plan. They understand that he wants Karen and has kidnapped him once before too. Kiefer says to JJ, if something happens, you take Karen and run away from there. Friends will protect him. Just getting Karen out safely is necessary. She agrees, and before going, Kiefer hugs her tight and says, I was feeling your absence and I will fix everything later, and tells her, stay strong. Then hugs her again and says, thank you, and quickly kisses her while leaving. Later, the class is sitting at the dining table. Kiefer's father talks to Kiefer, then, casting a glance at JJ, asks her name and questions about her family. JJ answers, and when she tells, my parents' names are Jesper Mariano and Yana Fernandez, his expression changes, and he says, how small the world is because your family holds shares in my telecom company. And then, in a cold manner, he says bad things about her mother, at which Kiefer breaks a glass in anger. He stands up and asks, what do you want? And he tells him, sign the documents about the business and your siblings. Kiefer says, this is my mom's money. So his father refuses and says, your mother stole the company. Then Kiefer gets into a fight with them, so JJ runs taking Karen. Guns come out and everyone is kicked out. His father angrily asks about Karen and insults JJ a lot and tells everyone, sit on your knees. JJ refuses, so he hits her hard, and she falls down, but still tries to get up for Kiefer until guns are raised again. He hits Kiefer again and tells him to sign, but JJ comes in between and says, you will not hit a student, otherwise your reputation and companies will all be finished. The words have an effect, and he smiles and leaves everyone and goes away. Then everyone calls JJ brave, but Kiefer yells at her, you faced a killer like Dylan. He warns her, don't do this again. JJ gets angry and leaves from there. In the next scene, Kiefer calls her outside. Then walking together, they talk. He tells her, I know you did it to save me, but I am afraid of losing you. Then he says thank you to her and tells, you saved my siblings. And then remembers his past where his father used to torture him, used to beat his mother, and Angelo taught him to become strong. He also tells her, my father murdered my mom, then I couldn't save her, but now I want to save my siblings. Hearing all this, JJ bursts into tears. Kiefer says, do not put yourself in danger again, and leaves after dropping her home. There, Aries scolds her for coming late. He is angry at her relationship with Kiefer. He says, Kiefer is just using you to take revenge. Hearing this, JJ gets emotional and starts crying. She says to Aries, I don't believe what you say. So he says, he was close to Ella just like this, then he left her. Rest you think yourself. Saying this, he leaves from there. In the next scene, JJ sits alone thinking about how Aries tried to break her trust in Kiefer with his words, which he was repeating again and again. She asks herself, was Kiefer just playing with my emotions or manipulating me? But from her heart, she doesn't believe this even for a moment. She remembers how Kiefer had fully trusted her, opened his heart, and told her everything that was going on between him and his father. Both depended on each other, and yes, they loved each other too. This feeling gives her warmth but also confusion. Then she decides, I should message Yuri and tell him the whole truth because I can't hide it anymore. Just then, Kiefer's call comes. He understands from her voice itself that she has cried. He asks, did Aries hurt you? If Aries crossed the limit, I will kill him without caring about the consequences and keep him away from JJ at any cost. When he says all this, JJ finds peace in his madness. JJ stops him and says, I don't want long speeches, just want to hear simple words. I love you. So he says it again and compares his love to the entire universe, which is boundless and infinite. Both smile and happiness comes amidst tension. He consoles her. If Angelo finds out, I will talk to him even if I have to fight. It doesn't make a difference because only JJ is important to me. He confesses his love with an open heart, and JJ also says, I love you. Then the call cuts upon Kian's arrival. Then at night, she doesn't get sleep and keeps thinking about Yuri because she has chosen Kiefer. The next day at school, she gets Yuri's message, I have a fever and cannot come to school. JJ gets sad. Just then, Kiefer comes and asks her, what happened? So at first she pretends that everything is fine, but he doesn't believe it. So she says, I am feeling guilty and want to tell Yuri everything. Kiefer agrees and says, I am also confused about how both started loving the same girl again. He doesn't know what to do, but one thing is sure, that he wants her and will stand with her, even if he has to fight. He tells her, if anything happens, call immediately, I will come without thinking. Then JJ gathers courage and thinks of telling Yuri the truth and goes to his house. Both sit and talk. JJ apologizes to him and says, I tried but couldn't stop loving Kiefer. Yuri says, I already knew that you would choose Kiefer and at least both tried. Then he becomes cold and says, I know everything what happened between you two on New Year. Then he tells her to go, but also says, I will still marry you in the end. You will be only mine. JJ leaves from there crying. Then JJ goes to Kiefer and tells everything. Kiefer calms her down and says, we will definitely find some way to stop the wedding. Then he tells, I talked to Percy and extracted info about his father and reached the secretary and heard a recording too. In it, someone said, we are coming to take JJ. JJ is confused, so Kiefer says, I am also worried, but there is no other way except waiting. Then both go home together. Outside the house, Angelo is seen, so they hide in the car. Then, after Angelo leaves, Kiefer comes out of the car with her outside the house. At the same time, Aries comes. They both look at each other. Then Aries starts taking JJ away, but Kiefer pulls her and kisses JJ in front of him and confesses his love, which makes Aries angry. In the next scene, Cian is leaving JJ's house, so she is bringing his luggage down the stairs. But suddenly the suitcase falls down and hits Aries, injuring him, and Angelo takes him to the doctor. The next day, JJ is sitting worried in class, so Kiefer holds her hand and consoles her. Then in class, Kiefer playfully makes her sit on his lap and says in front of everyone, she is mine. Then he openly tells everyone about JJ. I love her. JJ gets shocked. Later, Angelo comes and tells her, we are going to dinner with Yuri and his family and the wedding will be announced there. While walking with Yuri, she understands that he just wants to defeat Kiefer. The next day in school, Kiefer kisses her in front of everyone. Everyone there cheers for him. Then Yuri comes and calls her to the office where the staff says, a signature from your previous school is necessary, otherwise you will not graduate. And she gets worried due to the fear of meeting Cyrus. The next day in class, when JJ opens her bag, she finds boxes of chocolates. She is a bit shocked but pretends Auntie must have kept these chocolates. Then she deals with Cian, whose weakness is sweets. If you answer my questions, all the boxes will be yours. But Cian says, I know what you have to ask, I won't tell. But JJ opens the chocolates in front of him, so finally he agrees. At the same time, Kiefer messages JJ, stop what you are doing because this is not funny. But she doesn't listen to him. Cian tells her, Yuri and Kiefer were fighting because of this. Other students of Section E could also fight among themselves. Kiefer wanted to silence him, but JJ tells Kiefer, mind your own business. Then JJ gives the chocolate boxes to Cian. Then the teacher gives everyone an exam paper to solve in class. Upon time up, the teacher starts collecting papers from everyone, but JJ doesn't want to give the paper because she is stuck on some points. But the teacher takes the paper and reminds her, bring those papers which the principal asked you to bring from your old school. On the other side, we see Ella, who has come to JJ's house. JJ asks her, what are you doing in my room? Ella says, you are hurting Yuri and it would be better to think again because Yuri does not deserve this kind of treatment. JJ claps and says, I wish you had cared about his feelings. Ella looks at her from top to bottom before leaving and assures her, the day will come when you will regret choosing Kiefer exactly the same way I regretted choosing him. JJ ignores her words. In the next scene, the whole class has come to a camp for a school trip. When they see Freya and her friends who are considering themselves models and are wearing high heels in the pursuit of fashion, they can't even walk properly and keep taking each other's support. Seeing them, the whole Section E starts laughing. At the same time, trip supervisors come and explain how to walk in the place. The boys are very excited, and before leaving, everyone takes a group photo together. Also, friends take many selfies. Night falls and they set up camping equipment. JJ doesn't like that place because she is afraid of snakes. There might be snakes or something else. Kiefer helps her set up the tent, and at the same time, JJ tells him, tomorrow I will go to my old school so that I can get the papers signed mentioned by the principal. Hearing this, Kiefer offers, I will go along, but she refuses. Kiefer assures her, I will not leave you alone. And Yuri also insists, don't go to school alone. But she ignores it. Then Kiefer tells one of his friends, bring my phone and keep it ready for tomorrow. The next day, JJ goes to her old school. The security guard talks to her very nicely. She tells, I need signatures on papers. Then before leaving, JJ turns back and says sorry to him for all the foolish things from before that hurt him. He says, I have forgotten everything and I consider you like my daughter. Then going inside, JJ is afraid. I hope I don't face the goon named Cyrus. Going into the office, she gets some relief, but then she gets shocked when the same man is sitting inside. He talks rudely in a frightening manner and says, finally you walk to me yourself. JJ starts to leave in fear, but he grabs her neck and says, I am missing slapping you. She begs him to leave her and says, I am very weak right now. She falls down out of fear, so he keeps laughing at her and leaves. Then the supervisor comes, so JJ quickly requests to get the papers signed so she can leave from there. Then coming out, Cyrus sees her again and tells her to talk, so she gathers courage and punches him in the face. His goon friends surround her on all sides. JJ says to Cyrus fearfully, stop what you are doing because I don't want to hurt anyone. He answers, I won't stop until I do the same to you as what happened to me. Laughing, Cyrus starts beating her. His friends hold her and Cyrus is ready to punch. Just then, someone calls JJ and it turns out that Yuri, Kiefer, and other classmates have arrived. They all drag these boys and show them their place. A tremendous fight happens there. Cyrus, who was thinking of himself as a lion, his face falls. He asks, why did you come to save JJ? The whole class answers, she is our friend. Yuri says, she is from our section. And Kiefer speaks, she is mine, meaning whoever comes close to her will feel bad. Cyrus asks, what did Kiefer find good in her? And Kiefer starts beating him again. JJ stops him and says, he has just come out of the hospital and I don't want anything to happen to him because of me. Kiefer then takes JJ and leaves from there, but Yuri gets jealous seeing both of them together. The next day, everyone meets at a restaurant. David forces JJ for a hospital checkup, but she says she is fine. Then Kiefer also places a plate for her and sits opposite her and says, eat it. She refuses, so he gives a warning, if you don't eat, I will take you to the hospital myself. Kiefer says, from now on, she will not go anywhere alone unless someone is with her. JJ gathers courage and asks, why? He reminds, if those people hadn't come there, it could have been very bad, she tells. My bad luck was that I was expelled from school and he just came back 2 weeks ago. Kiefer and Yuri are surprised. You knew, yet you went alone. Both ask the same question in different ways. Did you plan to meet Cyrus beforehand? When she asks, are you jealous? Both say together, yes, absolutely. This is happening in front of all classmates, and David is also back watching the love triangle drama. JJ asks, why are you so worried? Yuri says, maybe because you got hurt. And Kiefer says, I am jealous. He asks other friends, how did you feel when you saw her injured? So everyone tells, I also felt jealous. Someone says, when I saw her in pain, I was about to cry. Everyone talks in their own way. Because JJ is even more innocent than them, she asked, how do you see Cyrus? So they tell, he is tall like a palm tree and there is no beauty in him. Kiefer says, if she does anything by her own will again and meets Cyrus, I will lock her in the house and not let her go out. At the same time, Yuri completes Kiefer's sentence and says, while she is locked, we will have fun with Cyrus. Then that same night when everyone comes back to camp, they feel someone has stolen their luggage, even food and drink items. And it turns out that this is the act of another section. JJ gets upset because her teddy bear is not found. Meanwhile, Huyen starts screaming because he thinks there is a snake in front. All kids step back because it is really a snake. Kiefer picks JJ up from there and takes her away. Then it turns out that Section A played a prank and this is a toy snake. A plan comes into Kian's mind. The next day, they follow his plan. Kian picks up the snake on his shoulder. They hide and watch Section A to take revenge. On the other side, they see Freya talking to her friends. Kian ties the snake with a fishing rope, and David picks it up and throws it behind the girls so that no one notices. JJ and Yuri can barely control their laughter. Suddenly, the girls look back and seeing the snake, they run away. Freya is left alone, and when she sees the snake in front, she starts screaming. As soon as the girls run from there, JJ, Yuri, and the rest enter and take back all their things, which also includes JJ's teddy bear. Then the whole section celebrates that they got their things. Then they return to their place. Tents are few, so it is decided that 2 people will stay in each tent. JJ wants to share her tent with Xian, but Kiefer refuses and tells everyone no one will share a tent with her. JJ is happy that the tent will be only hers. Later, JJ is in the bathroom and hears 2 girls from Section A talking. Last night there was a snake. JJ laughs inside. She meets her friend Rocky. Seeing marks on her neck, she asks, does Kiefer torture you? She refuses. She then tells her, Kiefer is not trustworthy and his style is the same with every girl. JJ says, Kiefer is not bad with me and everything is fine. She says, if there is anything like that, you shouldn't hide it. Then the rest of the sections are eating food in the canteen. JJ is standing with her tray with her group. Freya deliberately tries to drop her tray. She says to JJ with arrogance, you preferred Kiefer over Yuri. JJ speaks, I don't want any drama. Freya says, you are becoming more beautiful, and pulls her hair. Yuri, seeing all this, doesn't stay silent and calls Freya in a warning tone. Freya angrily tells him, don't say a single word. Then pointing at JJ says, I consider her just a flirting girl. Another friend of JJ warns Freya, so Freya gives a counter threat saying, I have everyone's secrets. David says, my big brother Percy will not be happy when he finds out you talk to JJ like this. Hearing Percy's name, JJ gets shocked and asks, what is Freya's relation with him? Freya says, ask the truth from those people who call themselves your friends. JJ insists, tell me right now. But Freya doesn't tell. She points towards Yuri and Kiefer. Ask them. Yuri and Kiefer are already nervous. Freya then leaves from there, crying. JJ asks both of them, what is all this? But Kiefer says, eat first and talk later. JJ insists, I want to know everything right now. Kiefer says, there is no benefit in knowing old wrong things. Then JJ walks and reaches a spot like a waterfall and thinks how peaceful it feels when one is alone. Right there, seeing Freya crying alone, she goes to her. Freya asks, did your friends tell you nothing? She says no. So Freya reveals, I had a relation with both Kiefer and Yuri. This is a big shock for JJ. She unburdens her heart and tells, after Percy died, Yuri deliberately came close to me, gave me support. Then when he felt that I really started loving him, he broke up one day. Due to which I broke mentally, I couldn't forgive him till today. Then Kiefer started treating me like a queen, but he was very possessive and didn't want anyone else to come close. Just on this matter that I smiled looking at Yuri, he got angry in front of everyone at the party. He held my face and gave a warning not to talk to anyone else. Freya says, then I deliberately befriended other boys to make Kiefer jealous. Then our breakup happened. Since then, people call me a girl who changes friends every week. Freya gets up. JJ wants to comfort her, but she refuses. Freya says, Yuri and Kiefer keep fighting over JJ. Then, standing alone, JJ thinks, many things are being hidden from me, and one day everything will come out. Then JJ is thinking about Freya's words. Just then the whole Section E comes there. Xian tells her, we are going to swim near the waterfalls. They call JJ also to swim with them, but JJ refuses. Xian tries to pull her forcibly, so JJ yells at him in anger. Then they all drag her into the water and enjoy with her so that she comes out of her mood. Then when they come back to the tent, Angelo is there. He asks JJ, where were you? And when he finds out she went to the waterfalls with them, he shouts and says, that place is very dangerous. JJ asks, what are you doing here? So he tells, Cyrus's father called and said, Cyrus has been taken to the hospital, and this happened because of his friends. He asks JJ, do you have any connection with this case? Aries speaks, he must have hit him. Both start fighting. Just then Kiefer comes and says, I did this. Kiefer says, I don't know exactly, but when I reached there, those people were hurting JJ. That's why I did everything from my side and beat Cyrus. Angelo asks, what were you doing at school? So Kiefer says, I went to see the tourist destination. Angelo asks JJ, why did Cyrus hurt you? So she says, he wanted to take revenge for what I did to him before. Then asks, why did his friends beat him? Did you do anything to them? JJ says, no, they were his friends, and I don't know why they did this. Then those people leave from there. JJ and Kiefer walk together and Kiefer says, I know you want to ask something, say it directly. JJ says, I really want to ask many questions. Just promise you will answer everything. Kiefer says, I cannot promise, but we'll try. JJ asks, did you really do that to Freya? Kiefer says yes and tells, in the beginning, Freya was everything to me and I accepted her with every matter, but in the end, she didn't love me and still loved Yuri. She says JJ cannot feel the pain I was suffering, and whenever we were together, Freya thought about Yuri and used me so that Yuri would get jealous. I didn't like it, so I did that to her. JJ says, this is not a strong reason after all. She is a girl. Kiefer speaks, I don't know why I did this, and it feels like I am like my father. JJ says, have you changed now? Kiefer says, trust me, because what I used to do before was wrong. What I did with Freya, I will not do that again. JJ thinks and says, but you were going to do the same with me. Kiefer apologizes to her, then asks, is there any other question? So JJ says, yes, there are, but I will ask sometime later. The next day, JJ wakes up and sees that she is tied up, and Kiefer and Yuri are lying on the side. She gets shocked and wakes them up saying, this is my tent. Both make fun and say, you barely came to your senses. Then in a flashback, they see that JJ had become drunk and started acting like a school play character. Taking a knife in hand, she was running behind everyone. Then, in the present, JJ gets embarrassed and everyone says, we couldn't sleep all night out of fear. She apologizes to Cian and David and promises, I will not do this again. Then at night, everyone plays truth and dare game in which the punishment is drinking soy sauce and Pepsi. Those people ask about the mark on JJ's back. So JJ, getting a bit sad, tells, when I gained consciousness, I found myself in the hospital. I didn't know what happened to me, but there are many marks on my body. Then, after that, I started living with my grandma. Then I found out, actually, my mom's husband used to bully me, but I don't remember anything. Then, seeing her sad, to change the topic, everyone asks Yuri, why didn't you tell that you are engaged to JJ? Everyone gets shocked and looks at Kiefer. Kiefer tells this engagement was decided between both families. JJ and Yuri were not agreed. David says to Kiefer, "You knew everything yet you were behaving normally?" So Kiefer silences everyone. Then JJ goes into the tent and sleeps, and when she wakes up, she feels someone sleeping nearby. Then seeing Kiefer, she starts getting attracted to him. She touches his face. Then seeing him, she smiles and thinks, "I don't know what love is. The first time I fell in love with someone, it is you. I don't want to lose you." Then she comes close to kiss him. Just then Kiefer tells her, "If you want to kiss me, do it right now." JJ gets shocked. He is awake. Then she asks him, "Why are you sleeping here?" So he tells, "Because I was missing you very much." Then bringing her close, he asks, "Can I kiss you?" JJ says yes. Then a kissing scene is shown between the two. Just then, a voice comes from outside. Yuri is missing. Kiefer says, "I will find him." But JJ also goes with him. They see Ella and Yuri are together. Ella asks him, "Do you love JJ?" And Yuri says yes. Then Ella apologizes and tells her past story. "Yuri's mom told me to break the relationship because she thought I am not worthy of you. She blackmailed me that if I didn't stay away from you, she won't let my family come to Korea. Believe me, I loved you, not Kiefer." Yuri says, "I cannot trust you." Ella says, "This is true. That's why I chose Kiefer, not you. Kiefer knows this thing. I couldn't hide it from you anymore. That's why I left Section E." She then says sorry to him. So Yuri says, "Now nothing can change with your sorry." Just then Aries comes there and gets angry at Yuri and Ella. He is about to hit Yuri, so Kiefer quickly goes and separates Aries from Yuri. Aries is very angry at Ella. "You betrayed me." She says sorry to him. He should have known the truth. So Aries says, "Why? Do you still feel for Yuri?" She says, "It's not like that." But Aries moves forward to hit Yuri again. So Kiefer punches him and pushes him away. Just then, Yuri asks Kiefer, "Did you know all this?" He says, "Yes, Mom told me to separate Ella from you." Yuri leaves from there shocked. JJ runs after him. Just then, it starts raining. Going quite far ahead, JJ sees Yuri getting wet in the rain under a cottage. She goes to him. So he tells her, "I am stuck here." JJ sees Yuri has a severe fever. Therefore, she starts drying him. So he says, "I said I will not give up on you. I don't want to lose the one I love again." JJ hug him and says sorry and tell him to rest. Yuri tells, "My mom is foreign. That's why the family hasn't accepted her properly yet. They keep an eye on her every move. That's why she is very protective for me. Our family is very complicated." JJ says, "Mine is like this too." He then tells JJ, "I want to make you mine. My grandpa didn't arrange our engagement. When I found out Angelo's company has gone bankrupt, I made this offer to Angelo that arrange my engagement with JJ. I will help you." JJ gets shocked hearing this. JJ asks, "You said you cannot break the engagement?" So he says, "I lied because I don't want to lose to Kiefer again. That's why I want to save you from him." JJ says, "This means this is not your love, it's your ego. You are selfish, Yuri." Yuri says nothing in reply. Then next morning, JJ's eyes open, and Yuri is sleeping with his head in her lap. She wakes him up and tells, "It's morning." Yuri says sorry to her, "I love you." But JJ starts leaving from there, so Yuri stops her and hugs her. Just then, Kiefer comes there and gets shocked seeing both of them like this. JJ tries to explain to him, so he says, "I kept looking for you all night. I thought something bad happened to you." JJ says, "It was raining, and Yuri had a fever. That's why I had to stay here." But Kiefer starts leaving from there in anger. Just then, Kian and the rest also arrive. So JJ says to them, "Yuri is sick," and she goes after Kiefer. Kiefer is standing at a place hitting a tree, taking out his anger. Upon JJ's arrival, he says to her, "I will pretend like I didn't see all that," and then leaves from there. JJ is thinking, remembering all this. Just then, Angelo says to her, "Aries is unconscious due to the injury. I have talked to board members about him, so you don't take tension about anything." But JJ hasn't heard his words properly. Then Angelo asks, "Are you understanding my words?" And she says, "Understood." Angelo says, "Okay, now I'm going out for work for a while. Mom will come in a while, take care of Aries until then." At that time, a lot is going on in JJ's mind. She remembers Kiefer had hit Aries. Just then, Aries speaks something in unconsciousness. JJ sees him and runs to him and asks, "Are you okay?" Hearing her voice, Aries immediately tells her, "Go out." JJ says, "Why do you get angry only at me every time? I talk to you in your tension," and goes from there in anger. Then Aries thinks in his mind, "I am not angry with you. Don't know why I am unable to forget old things. Who am I to you? The relation that was between us, you hurt me. I am unable to forget these memories." Then they show a flashback where Aries and JJ are brother and sister. Aries feels their mom only likes JJ, not him. Both have the same mother but different fathers. Whatever JJ did, Mom loved her, but always scolded Aries. One day, Aries is playing with a powder box. Mom snatches it from him and tells her friend, "The mistress of the house where I was working hit me. That's why I am going to look for another job." Aries is growing up. He will have to go to school. That's why I will find a new job. She says, "School fees, books, uniform money is needed for everything. What will you do?" listen to me, leave your children with your mother. Mom says, no, when Aries was in my stomach, my siblings spoke bad about me. I couldn't face them. That's why I came away. Then the friend says, leave it, JJ's papa is very rich. Try asking him for money. Mom says, it will be of no use. Then one day, JJ gets sick. Mom goes to work telling him to take care of JJ. JJ says, I am hungry. Aries asks, should I bring biscuits? JJ says, no, I want porridge. Aries takes money and goes to bring porridge. When he returns, Mom also arrives and scolds him, where did you go leaving JJ alone? Then they admit JJ to the hospital. That day is Aries' first school day, but he cannot go. Nurse tells JJ has an injury. Mom gets angry at Aries. You didn't take care properly. Now you cannot go to school because money got spent in the hospital. Aries insists, so Mom slaps him. Then Grandma arrives and hugs Aries. Then Mom leaves, leaving him with Grandma. Aries calls out Mom for the last time crying. Later, his aunt keeps him with her. Years pass, then Aries grows up. Mom gets married again. Aries meets JJ in the park. JJ calls him cousin. Seeing her bare feet, Aries takes off his shoes and gives them to her. Teaches her to ride a cycle. Seeing an injury on her neck, he asks, does stepfather beat you? But JJ doesn't tell anything and leaves from there. Then one day, Aries finds out JJ's stepfather used to bully her. Then Aries gets shocked seeing her in a very injured condition. Then he brings her to Grandma, where the doctor tells, due to trauma, she has forgotten some of her memories. She might remember them, but it is better not to remind her, otherwise her mental condition can worsen. Then Aries takes care of her. Then we see the scene after years in which Angelo scolds JJ. So JJ starts going out in anger. Aries goes to stop her and sees a man talking to JJ. Suddenly, he puts a cloth on her mouth and makes her unconscious. Aries goes to save her, but they take him too after making him unconscious. Upon waking up, he sees himself locked in a place. JJ is also with him. Just then, that man comes bringing food. He says to Aries, how are you? Your mom probably didn't tell you about me, otherwise you would have recognized me by name. So Aries thinks, I had recognized him because that man used to follow me before too. Now that man tells them to eat food and leaves from there. Aries then tells, I saw my real father for the first time that day. I had always imagined meeting my real father, but never thought of such a meeting. Then the next day, that man comes and says, I am very helpless. The money I am asking from Angelo in exchange for you is a very small amount. Therefore, he leaves JJ there and starts taking Aries with him. But Aries says, I will not go leaving JJ. Due to which a fight breaks out between both. JJ then bites that man, but that man throws JJ away, due to which JJ falls and starts bleeding. Aries starts handling her, but that man again tells him to go with him. Then suddenly JJ picks up a stone lying there and hits that man hard, due to which he falls. After that, she starts fighting with Aries because she was not in her senses. Seeing blood due to her mental condition worsening, she had considered me her enemy too. I tried hard to defend myself, but picking up a knife, JJ attacked me saying, you will also hurt me. But then seeing my blood, JJ got more shocked. What has this happened? While I never expected that you would do all this to me. Then I stayed in the hospital for a month, but I didn't want to face JJ again. When she came to my room to see me, breathing became difficult for me. JJ was saying sorry to me, but seeing my condition like this, she got worried and came close to me. But I requested her, in future, never come close to me and never talk to me. JJ, hearing this, got shocked and left from there. Then my mind went to that night when all that happened and JJ tried to kill me. Then in the next scene, Aries is in a car with Percy, Yuri, and Kiefer. He has brought a borrowed car from someone to show them his driving skills. They have come to a mountain place from where it starts raining while returning. I had to return the car, that's why I was driving fast. Everyone forbids me too that this could be dangerous, but I didn't listen to anyone. Then suddenly thought of JJ came to me then. That night came in front of my eyes when she hit me, due to which I couldn't control the car and we all had an accident. Then in unconsciousness, I felt the smell of rain. I heard Percy's voice. He said, get out of the car, we are on a mountain cliff. You go out of the car yourself. But I said, I can't leave you like this. So he said, you have to do this, otherwise we both will fall into the gorge, so save yourself. I didn't want to do this, but Percy threw me out of the car, after which the car fell into the gorge. In the present, JJ comes out of her room, so Grandma tells her, Aries will get discharged and come home today. Hearing this, JJ gets happy. Her mom has also come there with her husband. Just then, Aries comes. So Mom comes close to hug him, but Aries says to them, why have you come here? So Mom says to Aunt, you haven't taught manners to my children. JJ gets shocked. Why did Mom say, my children, instead of my child? Aries also says to Mom to protect Aunt, you cannot talk to my aunt like this. So Mom says, you have made her your mother? "You are very rude. If I knew you would turn out like this, I would have never handed you over to your aunt." JJ gets shocked hearing this. Then mom tells her too, "Aries is your real brother." JJ starts looking at everyone shockingly. The next day, JJ is going to school. She says to herself, "I can't believe that Aries is my brother. If they loved me, would they not hide this secret from me?" In school, Aries had told everyone, "JJ is my cousin." Then we see the scene from a few days ago. JJ remembers every conversation that happened at the retreat. Ella expressing her love in front of Yuri, then Aries hitting Yuri, after which Kiefer hitting Aries to save Yuri. After that, the kiss happening between Yuri and JJ, which Kiefer had also seen. Then JJ sends many messages to Kiefer, but Kiefer doesn't reply to even one message, so she becomes very sad. Then she goes to his house to see Kiefer, but Kiefer's brother Keegan tells her Kiefer is not at home, he has gone out. Then JJ sits outside the door and starts crying. Where has Kiefer gone? Inside, Keegan calls Kiefer, who is in London. Keegan tells him, "Your girlfriend had come." Hearing this, Kiefer asks, "Why did she come?" Keegan says, "She was looking quite sad. That's why don't say anything to her. Finish the work properly for which you went to London and come back." Then Kiefer messages JJ, "Sorry, JJ, I have come out for an urgent work, will come back soon." After this, the scene from 3 days ago is shown. Angelo and JJ go to Yuri's house. Then Angelo leaves JJ with them and goes. Yuri's mother talks to her about Yuri. Just then, a man comes there and talks to Yuri's mom in Japanese language. Then, Yuri's mom shows a wedding gown to JJ. When JJ comes out wearing a gown, Yuri's mom likes it very much. She happily says, "I will take your picture and send it to Yuri." Hearing this, JJ gets nervous. Yuri's mom says, "You don't seem worthy of Yuri to me, but my son is my life for him. I can sacrifice anything. Yuri is very lucky before he was born. There was a huge loss in our business. After this, business also became fine. He has been my favorite. In school one day, he introduced me to a girl who I didn't like at all. That's why I talked to Kiefer and said to take Yuri far away from that girl. Then one day, Yuri came home, completely changed. He changed hair color, kept drinking alcohol all the time, and fought with everyone. We were very shocked seeing him. Now, because of you, I have seen my old Yuri again. That's why I will not make such a mistake again. My son loves you, so you also love him." JJ immediately hugs Yuri's mom and says in her heart, "I cannot do this because I love someone else." In the next scene, Kiefer calls JJ, but she doesn't pick up the call. Then he receives JJ's photo from Yuri in which she is wearing a wedding gown. It is written, "You cannot stop our wedding, so leave her." In the next scene, JJ's mom says, "I want everything to be fine between us." At the same time, Yuri arrives with a flower bouquet in hand. Seeing him, JJ gets surprised. Mom asks, "Who is this handsome boy?" Yuri gives the bouquet to Mom. Then, as soon as he tells his name, Mom understands. She asks, "Are you the one going to marry my daughter?" Yuri happily says, "Yes." JJ asks, "What are you doing here?" Yuri says, "Your mom wanted to meet me. Angelo messaged me. That's why I came." After a while, the maid says, "Someone has come to meet you." JJ goes out and Kiefer is standing there. Kiefer says to her, "I missed you very much." She asks question after question, "Why have you come here? Why didn't you reply to my message?" "I was thinking, maybe you are angry with me. If it is so, forgive me." JJ asks, "Have you just come back?" He says, "Yes, came to meet you as soon as I returned." At the same time, the sound of Yuri and others laughing comes from inside. Hearing Yuri's voice, he starts going inside. Seeing him, everyone becomes silent. JJ's mom asks Kiefer, "Will you eat with us?" Then asks Yuri, "You don't have any objection?" Yuri says, "Kiefer is my friend, I have no problem." Then JJ sits between Kiefer and Yuri and everyone starts eating. Then Angelo asks, "JJ, what is the relation between you two?" JJ is about to answer when Kiefer says, "We are lovers." Hearing this, everyone gets surprised. At the same time, Angelo gets a phone call that Aries' health is deteriorating. Grandma, JJ, Kiefer, and Yuri stay. Rest everyone goes to the hospital. Grandma says to JJ, "Tell the truth." Before she says anything, Yuri tells, "Even after our engagement, these two are in a relationship." Kiefer says, "I love your granddaughter." Hearing this, Grandma says to JJ, "You only have to solve this problem. Are you meeting two people at the same time? Is this right?" Kiefer says, "It is not JJ's fault." But Grandma silences everyone and says to JJ, "You have to decide yourself." Then we see the scene from 2 days ago. JJ goes to class, but no one pays attention to her. At the same time, David says to her, "I need to talk to you alone." JJ goes with him. She asks, "What is the matter?" David calls Percy and gives the phone to JJ. He says, "I am coming back home. We will meet face to face and talk." JJ says, "Don't come in front of me because of you. I am in a problem." Percy apologizes and says, "Give me a little time. We will meet and talk." JJ says, "Absolutely not." Percy says, "JJ, listen to me first. Give me 2 days time after this. I will give answers to all your questions." But JJ refuses and cuts the call. Then David apologizes to JJ. So JJ says, crying, "I don't understand what to do." Seeing her crying, David comforts her. By mistake, he kisses JJ. JJ scolds David. Kiefer sees all this from a distance, so he comes and punches David once. JJ tells Kiefer to stop, which makes Kiefer feel JJ loves David. That's why she gets angry at him. JJ tells Kiefer it was about Percy. But due to misunderstanding, Kiefer says, "Is Yuri not enough for you? Do you want to play with everyone?" JJ says, "There is nothing like that," and tries to hold his hand. But Kiefer removes his hand and says, "Don't come near me." Saying this, he leaves. Then we see the same scene when JJ found out Aries is her brother. Now, after knowing the truth, she starts crying shockingly. Then Aries says, "Truth has come out, but nothing will change between us." JJ says, "You didn't even like me as a cousin, then how will you like me as a sister?" Saying this, she leaves. Now in the present, JJ consoles herself and goes to school. In class, she sees Kiefer beating a boy, so JJ stops him. Then Kiefer asks, "Did he kiss you?" And he calls Mayo and asks, "What happened?" Mayo says, "I saw then Kat was trying to kiss you. On this matter, a fight broke out between both. At the same time, Yuri comes and saves JJ. Kiefer then asks Cian, "Are you also in a relationship with JJ?" He nervously says no. Then Kiefer says to Yuri, "You always snatch my things first, Freya, then Ella, now JJ." Yuri says, "Stop it. I will not tolerate anymore." JJ starts falling, so a boy catches her. Kiefer claps and says, "This is what you want, all boys of Section E roam behind you." JJ says, "Don't insult me." Kiefer says, "What you did to me, that is not an insult." JJ says that they are all her friends and she is also a student of Section E. But Kiefer forcibly drags her from there to Aries' classroom and says, "You are not a student of Section E." He says to Aries, "This girl is not of our section. That's why I have brought her to leave her with you." Aries answers, "Yes, she is not of our section. That's why she was in Section E, because like your life, her life is also useless." Hearing Aries' words, JJ gets very sad. She thinks, is he really my brother? What else can I expect from him? Then Kiefer asks Aries, "Do you have no worry for her?" Aries says, "No, it doesn't make a difference to me." Hearing this, JJ leaves from there crying. Then the next day, JJ messages Kian, "Today I will not come to school." At the same time, her mom comes into the room and says, "If you are not going to school, I and your stepfather are going out, come with us." Hearing this, JJ quickly starts going to school. In school, when she reaches near the class, voice of children talking is heard from inside. One boy says, "Talk softly, JJ will hear." Then one boy says, "JJ is very innocent. I said, don't make this plan." Another boy says, "Don't do drama. You were also involved in this plan." Hearing this, JJ doesn't understand anything. Then a boy says, "If JJ finds out about this, she will never forgive us." JJ goes inside the classroom. Seeing her, everyone gets surprised. Then she asks, "Which plan?" Kiefer says, "I used you. Everyone in Section E knows this thing. I trapped you in the web of my love to take revenge on Aries." Hearing this, JJ says, crying, "Okay, so all that was a lie?" Then she looks at the faces of all boys and says, "There was a time when I thought now no one can hurt me, but today I found out there are still such people." Then she remembers that scene when Kiefer told her, "I will never leave you alone." She thinks, this person taught me to love, but his love was a lie. Everyone there is crying, seeing her cry. Then JJ silently leaves from there. Then right here, this season ends.